Live from beautiful downtown Bastrop, it's time for the Stage Select, starring Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
What could this possibly be? Seems a lot like a podcast, wonder what specifically. Talking about video games. With your hosts, you're in good hands, not more of the same. Now we'll jump right in. So expect the unexpected and more. Now we'll get grooving. Never know who's gonna walk through the door. There just might be some treasure in this chest. Having fun with our special guest. Time for Stage Select.
With special guest,
Stephanie Michelle.
and here are your hosts, Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
Welcome, one and all, to the Stage Select. I'm Julian Titus.
And I'm Justin Ham. Hi. It's high time we ask the hard questions around here. How many sandwiches is it appropriate to eat at once? Fred Penner would tell you 100. We're joined today by Stephanie. Your thoughts?
I was gonna say hello. Oh, by the way, hello. I am Stephanie. I am here. I for sandwiches. Well, the limit does not exist, but also maybe 4.
Okay. Yeah, that
Sorry.
seems
It's
no,
doable.
that seems fine.
Like stacking on top of each other. I
Right.
feel like that's a good amount.
Because the song "Sandwiches" by Fred Penner, it says if he had 100 sandwiches, he would eat
Sure.
them all at once. That seems excessive. I don't know how he's doing this, right?
Heartburn.
Yeah.
Heartburn and
Right.
and just bathroom breaks, and I don't know about that.
It seems like a lot. It
Yeah.
really does. Yeah, no, it's bad. It seems like a lot. But, he's Fred Penner. Who am I to doubt him? He met the Queen of England and she gave him a sandwich and shoved him out the door. It was the whole thing.
Listen, I've never tried to eat 100 sandwiches
Yeah.
at once, so who am I to judge?
He's a nice Canadian man. I don't know what they're doing in Canada. It's hard to say. Impossible to know.
Eating 100
Yes.
sandwiches, most likely.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
Well, yes, as you've heard, we have a wonderful special guest, a huge deal. She is a cosplayer. She is an internet personality. She is a YouTuber. She is an adult content creator. She is a generally cool, nerdy person. We have the one and only Stephanie Michelle.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you so much. Yes, I am all of those things, but I think the title I'm most proud of is being just a generally nerdy girl, geeky gal. I think that's probably my essence. So thank you for noticing that.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Yes. I've seen it in on the video call, but also I've seen it in other videos, and I have to ask, is that a Final Fantasy crystal tattoo that I detect?
So many people say that. So it's not, but I can see
Okay.
why people think that. I actually got a friendship tattoo with a bunch of my friends, and my favorite color is blue. And I wasn't
Okay.
even thinking about Final Fantasy at the time. It's just like blue crystal, cute. I like blue
Yeah.
crystal. Blue make brain go good. And so everyone else got different colors, and I got the blue one. And then ever since then, everyone's like, Final Fantasy. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, it works. I like Final Fantasy, so it's
Hell yeah.
fine. But not a double intention on that. So I guess it worked out.
Nice. Very nice.
Mhm.
Well, yes, we're looking forward to getting to know a lot more about Stephanie tonight. Before we jump into all of that, just a couple quick announcements. I was on a recent episode of Games My Mom Found, as I had said, and I'll have the link in the show notes. I was on the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League episode, so it was nice to be one of the. It was a pretty big panel, and I was like one of the only people who was like, "Yeah, this game's all right. I had fun."
Your
Really?
noted love of that game, yeah.
I actually it made it to my top 10 last year, Stephanie.
it
I really
sure did.
enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, I'm
Oh
right
my
there with you,
God.
Stephanie. I played it and I was like, I don't know what he sees in this one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, I've wanted like an Iron Man game. I wanted to like fly around and shoot things from the air, and then Deadshot let me fly around and shoot things from the air. So
Nice. Yeah, that's fair.
that fulfilled a lot of that desire in me. So,
Okay.
but
That's
yeah,
fair.
that was a fun episode. Yeah, it was. I say that that's the last like guest appearance for me, but then Mike Fallick has a thing that he has me scheduled for, so that'll be the last thing for a while because
Well,
I
there
feel
you
like
go.
I'm spreading myself a little thin lately.
Yeah.
Justin does not spread himself thin though, but he was on the Mad Monarchs Tribunal on YouTube, and
I
I'll have
was
the link
on
for that
that,
as
yeah.
well. That was a fun discussion. I always love to hear you like go super deep on Skyrim shit.
Yeah. If you're not tired of hearing me talk about Skyrim, go listen to that. Because
Never.
yeah, well, I'm sure somebody is. I'm sure somebody's like, I'm not gonna listen to that actually, and I'm like, you know what? I respect that decision.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
But no,
All
it
right.
was fun.
It was, yeah. You know, you can check those out if you are so inclined. But the reason for the season or what have you for this episode is the one and only Stephanie Michelle. So Stephanie, what we like to do with new guests is we like to do like kind of like a getting to know you segment
Sure.
and just kind of like introduce you to our audience. Some people may know you, some people may not,
Sure.
but also just for ourselves. And so first off, because usually what I do, because you know we are like mainly a video game centric podcast, is my theory is that everybody has like that one game that made video games go from being a childhood thing to, oh no, this is a thing that I am going to continue doing. But you're also like a well-rounded geek. I can definitely attest to that from seeing you around online and stuff like that. So like what was it as you were like growing up that drew you to this stuff, and then what was a thing or things that kind of like was like, oh no, this, like I'm not going to grow out of this, like this is like really important to me and I want to keep up on this shit.
Great question. So I would say there's a couple of games that immediately stick out to me. This is mostly in my childhood, and I will get into like, you know, as we continue and I get older and I'm like, no, this is a thing I'm sticking with. But
Mhm.
I would say like the first three games that come to mind that really were like, okay, this is what I'm doing after school. I am not doing sports. I'm not doing homework. I'm doing video games. This is what I'm interested in. Is the first one was Sonic 2 on the Sega Genesis, which I still have, and it works. Okay.
Nice.
I keep my shit pristine. So that is, I just remember having this like very visceral feeling when I saw Dr. Eggman in the very first level of Sonic 2 come out, and he's like huge, you know, and he's in this like thing.
Mm.
I remember being scared, and I remember my aunt was there for some reason, and she's like, "It's okay, honey, like don't worry." And I was like, I was like, I didn't know I could feel like a feeling from a video game, you know, and I was
Mhm.
very young. And so it was just like the music changed, you know, I was like, oh my God, this is different. This is, I'm having like, you know, a panic reaction to this. I need to defeat this bad guy. Oh my gosh, I'm just a little blue guy. I don't know if I could do this. It was, it took video games from just like something like cute and fun to like, there's a strategy here and you have to like focus and pay attention. You know, and then as I got a little bit older, I really got into playing with my neighborhood kids. Growing up, we all played X-Men 2 again on the
Okay.
Sega.
Yeah.
Because you could have, I think, up to 4 people on controllers. So we're all like teaming it up. We could never beat it. We're horrible, but we tried.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a
you
hard
know?
game.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It's a really hard game. We tried our best. And then the one game where I was like, this is so interesting and frustrating and fun, again, from my childhood part, was Comics Zone, which is, I don't know if a lot of
Yeah.
people know
Yeah.
this one. Okay.
Yeah,
Bro,
great game.
I did not get past like probably the 3rd level in the existence of me owning that game.
Right.
But boy, was it fun. And it was just like, so it was great to see, you know, I also have a very huge passion for comics. So the fact that it was like a comics themed video game was so fun and interesting. And it was kind of like a secretive world. Maybe they explain it later. Again, I have never beaten the game, so I don't know. But from my brain as a child, I was like, oh, there's a mystery here. There's like a plot. Like, you know, things are happening. Oh my God, I want to know this mystery. So that got me into continuing to play games as an adult. And I would say the game that really made me feel something the first time I really like felt something was probably Lunar, God, what's it called? Lunar Silver Star Story. There we go. It just came
Yes.
to me.
Yeah.
You got it.
In a I remember crying over that game because there's like, there's some like the villain in that game is very complex because he saves fairies and he saves these endangered like flowers and he's really, tries to keep nature alive, yet he's also evil. So it made me think like, whoa, people are not just good or bad. That's like really deep. And that was really fun. And then Silent Hill 2. I should not have been playing that game as a child. And I also just told my mom, I finally confessed to my mom on Mother's Day. I said, hey, Mom, you're great. You should have never bought me Silent Hill 2 in middle school.
Yeah.
You should not have done it. I'm fine, though. But, and she was like, I never bought you that game. We got in a whole thing about it. I was like, you bought it, Mom. It was rated R. Could not buy that game myself. But, yeah, those games really did something to me. And, ever since then I've been playing I like story games, I like,
So do we. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I mean, nothing wrong with just, I play a shit ton of Marvel Rivals. So, that's also super fun. I love lighthearted games as well, but story games, I think really latched on to me as a young child. And I really wanted to know more about that and I still do to this day.
Nice. Yeah, and you mentioned comics, and I've definitely seen a lot of your cosplay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How did you kind of fall into that, and what were some of the your early big books?
Yeah. So so fun fact, I'm dyslexic, so reading was really difficult for me in school. Comics, the way that it's very bite size, and you can also see the action that's happening with it, helped me. I wouldn't say overcome my dyslexia because I'm still very dyslexic, but it definitely helped me understand reading better and help me more so than reading a big wall of text in a regular book. So that I was just reading comics all the time because I'm like, this is how I can understand this, and it helps my brain. It doesn't feel like I'm getting tired from reading all this really dense text and everything. So I read a lot of Sonic comics growing up.
I've heard really good shit about the Sonic comics.
Oh my God, it was amazing. I
People
don't
like
care
'em.
who says shit about Sonic comics.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And this is before IDW took over. So this is back in the day. And then I mean, X-Men is my first love and will always be. So I just read a ton of comics from Uncanny X-Men. And then the cool thing about high school is that my English teacher gave out extra credit if we read certain lists, certain graphic novels on his lists. So I was like, well, I'm not really great at reading and spelling, so I got to do this kind of stuff. So that's when I read Barefoot Gen, and that's when I read Mouse, and I read Watchmen, and all the classics, that were really I just find those to be so important to not just any comic book lover, but just a lover of media and in general. Those books are so great. So that is, and then also they have comic books for Shakespearean stories. So that's how I read Macbeth. There's a comic book version of Macbeth, and I read that way. So it's so many things I was able to understand more so through comics. So yeah,
nice. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm actually really excited. I've been collecting X-Men in omnibus form because I wanted to basically read the whole Chris Claremont run.
Exactly.
At a certain point, I got stuck. I read Inferno, and then there was this gap, and then I had the next one. I was like, I'm stuck in 89, and I can't go forward. And I just pre-ordered it because I think it's like a new publication, but there is a new omnibus that is basically that gap from
Oh,
Inferno to Extinction Agenda, and so I can finally get from like, I think that'll put me from like 89 to about 92. So I'm
nice.
really excited.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's when I started reading X-Men, was right around the Jim Lee,
Yes,
like
same.
the 91 X-Men. So
Yeah.
then I want to keep going up until like the end of Onslaught, which is where I stopped reading X-Men originally. So that'll be like a nice, like, what was that, like 23, 24 year run of X-Men in hardcover form.
I'm doing that too. I'm also I have like all the single issues, and now I'm like, I really should invest in getting the omnibuses. So I've also been collecting them as well. Like, but like you just mentioned, some of them are hard to find or very expensive.
I believe it. Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this? Why is this? So that's kind of annoying. So I totally get you on that.
Oh yeah, because they'll like print them for like a really short window of time. So it's like you got to be on it. Like I'm every few months I'm like checking like the list of like, okay, so what's on the horizon? Like, let me sure that I grab that because they'll go out of print like within a year. So and then they'll cycle back in, but if you don't catch them when they're in print, then then they just skyrocket, and it's a whole thing. So I'm looking forward to finally getting to keep going.
Hell yeah.
So as you get older, I know that YouTube was like a big thing for your career. You kind of got into it, like, I would say, not like the early days, but it was kind of like that time frame where like a lot of like deeper commentary was pretty novel.
Yeah.
How did you end up starting on YouTube, and like, how did that go for you?
Oh my God. So YouTube was, I don't think I've ever told the story, so exclusive.
Ooh.
Exclusive alert, exclusive. Okay. So I was working an office job at this time, and I 100% believe my office job was a front for a mob, looking back on it.
That's fun.
Because I got hired for this place, and it was like, we want to, this is back in YouTube days when, like, makeup MUA gurus were like really hot, and like that kind of DIY notion was just beginning.
Right.
So this company was about making DIY tutorials for a website. Okay. And they wanted to be the hub where everyone came for, like, basically like Pinterest, but a website, like anything that you could think of craft wise, we're going to have like the best way to do that craft. And we're going to show you tutorials and do photos and stuff. So my job was literally to show up and make tutorials for a bunch of different crafts, whether it be making candles, making soap, like anything. And I'm a very crafty person. So I was like, that seems like a lot of fun for me. I show up to get this job. They were like, hey, could you make a table? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I legitimately made a table. I found a reclaimed, someone was throwing out, this is in LA, so it's not that unusual once you have contacts.
Right.
They were demolishing a building, and there was this beautiful vintage window pane just on the side of the road. And I was like, that's a coffee table top. I'm going to repaint that and like show you how to like reclaim wood and all this stuff. So I had to like, make all this stuff. Anyway, it was just like every day was something random. And then, it was like bizarre. And then one time we met the CEO of the company, and he was like, we're all going to go to China, and we're all going to, like, you're going to meet all my friends in China. And I'm like, why are we going to China? Like, no offense, but like, I just don't understand the connection here.
Right.
And it was just, he was very weird. And I was like, something is not right about this company. How are we making money? Like, what? Like, the whole thing didn't make sense. Anyway, long story long, they eventually realized that YouTube was like a thing.
Okay.
And video was a thing. And we should probably transition more from just writing text to actually doing, video tutorials and courses and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I was camera shy, believe it or not.
Okay.
I was like, I don't want to be on Instagram. I don't want to be anything like that. I'm not that type of person. Yikes. So I started my YouTube career to get myself comfortable with being on camera for my regular job.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So like I was just doing it for fun, like literally for fun, and also trying to get over my stage fright and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
that's why a lot of those videos are just like, well, I'm just going to talk about things I really like because I'm
Yeah.
already scared to be here. So, yeah. And then, believe it or not, the job we went out of business. I don't like crazy, right?
Who would
No
have
one saw that coming.
Nobody. Who could have foresaw?
So I was like, well, I have my YouTube. So then that's when I started to do it full time just to see like,
Right.
would this be a thing? Is this something I can do? I don't know. And I ended up having a lot of fun with it. And I still, eventually I do want to start making more videos. It's just, honestly, I've been so busy with other things. It's like, I just don't have the time, but I still do love YouTube. Anyway, so that's how I got to YouTube.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
It's really random.
Yeah.
And like, what was that? Like, because you gained a pretty good following, and I know that I must have seen you on YouTube probably around that time. Because I wasn't. That was around the time that I wasn't really like watching YouTube the way that I do now. Like now, YouTube is basically like my TV. Like, I get off of work and I watch like YouTube videos before I'm watching dinner and stuff like that.
Right.
But I definitely seen you, and I definitely knew your name when I saw you pop up later, which we'll get to. But could you kind of describe like what that rides felt like, and like that whole that whole process? Because we are very small, passionate podcasters. We just do this for the love. Like it's not a career type thing. But I have thought about like what would that be like if the show blew up or something like that? Like what would that even like be like? So I'm really curious about like what that trajectory was like for you.
That's a very good question. Honestly, I don't know if I ever absorbed it even to this day, because at the time, I've gotten a lot better at it now, but at the time I was very much a, oh, no one really likes me. There's just, a very, like I talked myself down, and I was very hard on myself. And I was like, oh, people just subscribe to me for like drama, and like, they don't really like me. And, I never felt like, happy for myself, I could feel like excited, like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is so great. I did not have the capacity to give myself any praise back in then, which is a skill that I've very much worked on. And I'm really happy that I'm, hey, we all have our down days, but
absolutely
at the time it was really unchecked,
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I still like sometimes people be like, oh, I watched you on YouTube. And I'm like, oh, I had a YouTube. Yeah, you're right. And then I just like, it's like not something I absorbed correctly into my brain. But I'm sure that I honestly sometimes I think that's a good thing, because I didn't get caught up in and become like this pretentious person that's obsessed with like, well, I have this many followers and I'm better than you and blah blah blah. I didn't get like that, which I unfortunately think it's very easy to do, considering we see so many of the top subscribers turn out to be not so nice people after a while,
You'll have that.
So, moral of the story, I guess, stay humble. That's really it. And just do your thing. Try not to pay attention to that kind of stuff,
Oh, our listeners know that we can't get any more humble. If anything, they're like, Julian, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like the show's good.
I constantly have to tell them that. That's always what I'm saying. I'm like, it's fine, man. It's all gonna be fine.
Yep. Well, Justin, before we move on, I think now is about the time.
Now's the time?
I think that now is the time for you.
Oh, for me? Oh,
yes.
I know. Oh, you're cueing me. I'd never been cued into this. Normally, I have to break in. This is different. Well, Stephanie, we have a thing that I have to do. It's a sort of a trial by fire around here.
Oh.
And that is, Stephanie, I have 5 questions for you. And we start this bit like this. Watch me hit the wrong button here.
Tell us how you do.
Good job.
All right. It's just David Lee Roth. That's good. All right.
We got sound effects up in here.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got buttons. It's fun.
Oh, I love that.
Oh
I
yeah.
have
Oh yeah.
buttons.
Yeah. MIDI drum pad works pretty well. For future reference. All right. First question. We'll start off easy. Number 1. When's the last time you ate an orange?
That's not easy.
I know. Wow.
I would say, I think in February. February's the last time I ate an orange.
Okay. That's sooner than I would have expected because I just have this theory that nobody's just eating oranges at all.
I just felt like I need vitamin C in the winter. I don't know. I sneezed it.
You're worried about scurvy. I understand.
I was, yeah.
Who wouldn't be concerned about it? You know, I just remember so my uncle at one point just gave my grandmother a box of oranges. We're just like, here, have these oranges, and she's like, what the fuck am I going to do with these oranges? Like,
Damn.
what is this for? And so now it's a whole thing. All right, number 2. And this may be a little hard to parse, but we'll get there. Why is time so Irish?
Well,
Yeah.
I actually hate time. So
Okay.
now I'm glad that you brought this. I don't hate the Irish. Sorry, that came out weird.
No,
I
that-
don't
no,
hate
that's
the
fair.
Irish.
Like, oh.
No, I think the Irish people are lovely. I
Yeah.
love them. But time, I don't like time.
Yeah.
Why is it Irish specifically? I feel like it's very Roman, no?
Well, see, a lot of o'clocks. Everything's an o'clock. It just sounds very Irish to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
you silly goofy guy. I see what
See?
you're doing.
That's more my shtick.
I know. I immediately
I'm a
was
little
like,
offended.
this is very much Julian shtick, but you know what? Here we are. We're asking this question. All right. Well, number 3. Why doesn't the person on the receiving end of a knock-knock joke just open the fucking door and look? They never do it.
Well,
Yeah.
I will tell you,
Okay.
as a woman,
Uh-huh.
I ain't opening the door.
That's fair. That's
You know, we never stop to consider that the knock knock jokes are maybe the other person is always female, right? And maybe
That's
it's
true.
like, and
That's
it's,
true.
We all, it's like that one riddle of like that. You know that one riddle where it's like the son is gets injured and is out with his dad, who's a doctor. So, but you can't operate on your own child. So who
Mhm.
operated? And it
Sure.
turns out like I'm butchering it horribly, but you get what I'm saying. Like
It's fine. Yeah.
the mom was also the doctor, and people forget like women can be doctors.
Right.
Yes. True.
Oh, and
Yeah.
then so I feel like they're possibly mothers and wives who don't want to just open up the door
That's true.
for any joker,
Yeah.
And,
That's very true.
Yes. So I think that's my answer for that.
And it would have been around the time when, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we
I
don't
like
have
it.
peepholes back then, right? For knock
Yeah.
knock jokes. I feel like those are ancient.
They're ancient. Yeah.
times.
And men are fucking weird. So I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
And also,
Okay.
you never know when it's a land shark at the door, which is a very old SNL reference that like 2 people in the audience got.
Well, I'm glad for those 2 people. I'm really happy for them, Julian. I'm really, really happy for them.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4. And this, I may have asked this to somebody, but I'm constantly curious because it constantly crosses my mind.
Sure.
What are you supposed to do with cards? Like birthday cards. And when is it
Oh.
okay to get rid of them, if ever?
I'm a horrible person to ask that because I am a hoarder. I've legitimately kept every single letter that I've
Yeah.
ever received, even from
Okay.
high school. I've
Wow.
kept it. I've kept old love letters from ex-boyfriends.
Sure.
I've kept every piece of mail I got from my YouTube days, like when someone sent me something nice, I
Sure.
still have it in a box.
Yeah. Nice.
I just think, unless it's like a birthday card where all they did was just sign their name and not say like, hey, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah.
Generally speaking, yes.
Yes.
I get that a lot.
If someone wrote something nice to you on it, I think you should keep it in a little box forever.
Okay.
But if it's just a card where all it says is the printed like well wishes and then a signed name,
Right.
you can toss that because that's not personalized to you enough.
Okay.
And you
All
deserve
right.
better.
Okay. All right.
I agree.
So
Yeah. I
levels.
hold on. I hold on to that stuff too. I've
Mhm.
got stuff from like elementary school and
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, our final question here. And I will make a confession to you, Stephanie. I ran out of questions, so I turned to my friends at Reddit, and I just took the first question that I found on the popular tab. All right.
Got it.
So number 5, 32-year-old mom of 4. Thoughts?
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
32 mom of 4?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Honestly, that's a lot. That's a lot.
I agree.
To do.
Yeah.
I hope that she never has to deal with explosive diarrhea from her children, and I wish her many sleepful nights. That's what I wish.
Said. Well said.
Yes.
I like it. All right. Mm-hmm. And well, you've now done it. You passed the 5 questions, and so now
glad.
We'll play this. We'll play this. Whatever I'm going to press. I don't know what it's going to be.
One break coming up.
Sure, that works.
I think that's a new one. I don't think you played that one.
I think I played it before, but who knows?
They all blur together at some point.
It's all David Lee Roth.
Yeah,
most of it's from the same song. It's fine.
I've been on the hunt for the Phantom for months. He'd attacked this studio multiple times last year, but this season, silence, like a cemetery on a winter's night. I knew he was up out there somewhere, biding his time. It was past time for Richard Harden, private detective, to grill the rest of the staff. Someone would break. They always did. State your name and occupation for the record.
But you know who I am, Mr. Harden. We work together every day.
State your name and occupation for the record.
My name is Morgan. I am the stage manager for the show.
And when was the last time you saw the Phantom?
I've never really seen him. Just glimpses in the shadows, and I hear his laughter. I think I heard him cursing a few weeks ago. Something about a thing called Skype or whatnot.
Never seen him, eh? Ever look in a mirror?
What?
Admit you're the Phantom. You get up in those rafters more than anyone.
Of course I'm not the Phantom. I was unconscious for at least 2 of his attacks. Abramo knows. He sweeps me into the corner when that
The strange stage manager had died again. I had expected it, but I had to be sure. I didn't really think he was the Phantom. He was always terrified of going back to the poison swamps, whatever those are. I could cross Morgan off the list, but I had more interviews to conduct. The work is never done. For Richard Harden, private detective.
Well, Justin, hear me out.
Oh, God.
No, Justin, remember we had the meeting after the last episode, and I said that you need to hear me out, and you said that you would hear me out.
I don't know if I ever said anything like that.
No, it was a meeting. Like the staff was there.
What staff?
I've been
Abramo?
Abramo was there. Morgan was there. Richard was there. Everybody was there. It was a staff meeting.
Right, fine, staff meeting. Sure.
Yes. As you know, I've been brainstorming different ways to get the show to go viral over the last few weeks.
Oh boy, have you!
But I realized that I was trying too hard to tap into recent trends. And the trick is these days is that you got to go old school because the old comes back around and it becomes popular again. So
all right.
That's true.
So what I'm thinking, Justin.
Okay.
Shock content needs to come back.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that.
So here's what I'm thinking, right? We have the gorgeous Stephanie Michelle on today, and I'm thinking we book more beautiful women to be on the show, right? Like actresses or models or porn stars. No, hear me out.
No.
I bought this Sibian, right? And I mounted it on this little stand. And so we'll wheel it into the studio.
Okay, all right.
And during the interview, we'll have the beautiful women get on the Sibian.
I'm
right?
I'm
Okay.
shutting this down now, Julian.
No,
I
hear
don't.
me out. And so then while they're on the Sibian, I will say really like out of pocket gross things to them that's supposed to be edgy and funny, but really is kind of creepy and weird. And I think that's the ticket.
You think? Okay, so Howard Stern, basically, you're just gonna do that.
No, shock content.
Okay, sure.
And also, but also, while I'm conducting the interview, Justin, you will say "Baba Booey" repeatedly.
Is that okay? Was that? Yeah. Or can I just be like Robin, where they just laugh at stuff occasionally?
Oh, she had
We'll
the
talk
best
about
job.
She was great. Yeah, I liked
She was
Robin.
great.
She
We don't
seemed-
talk enough about Robin.
No, I know.
We don't.
Nobody ever mentions Robin, and she was.
I know Robin.
Yeah,
I liked her.
I liked her too.
No, she was cool. Yeah.
Yes.
I used to watch it on E when they used to broadcast it.
Yes.
What else was there to watch at like 2 a.m. when I was stoned? That was what was I going to watch? Like infomercials? No, probably Howard Stern's on it or something.
I mean, don't discount some of those infomercials, man. They were.
I mean, some of them were pretty good. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Well, Stephanie, continuing on with kind of your journey and you know this part of the show, there was a point not that long ago where I was on Tumblr. I don't have a Tumblr. Nobody has a Tumblr. But I was on Tumblr, and I saw a post, which was a picture of you from your YouTube days, and then a picture of you now. And I was like, huh. And again, I knew you. I recognized the face. I recognized the name. So I know that I must have seen you either your actual videos or like someone talking about your videos like back in the YouTube days. But I'm fascinated to know like how that journey happened to the YouTube career to your current persona. And then I also have like a lot of like I'm fascinated by this part of your career because I find it very interesting maintaining like a persona versus like you type of thing.
Yeah. So that's really interesting because I always try. I don't really think that I do have a persona because I'm very real with everything that I say because I feel like if the second. So the thing about sex work is that you can really only be, I think, successful at it if you are authentic, which is why I'm so adamant against like, you know, AI or like management companies or people talking for you and stuff like that, because you're not just selling, you know, your body or your content or whatever, you're also selling your personality. And I think that is important to be true to yourself. So I, you know, maybe there's some days where I'm like, you know, a little bit more of a horn dog than I am in real life, sure. But it's all coming from like a genuine place, you know?
Yeah.
So basically what happened to me is that I started posting a lot more cosplay content on Instagram, and that was like really taking off, which kind of got my YouTube more focused on cosplay, and I started doing like little builds and like how I did things and blah, blah, blah. And the other part about I've lore about Stephanie is that I used to be an art model this is how I made money in college. I was a nude art model for many colleges around Southern California, and also private artists would hire me to be their model for their own work that they were working on. Yeah. So I've never had a problem with nudity. I don't care. You know, I really, truly never cared about that. So during my YouTube days, Patreon was starting to like get really big with like cosplay girls on Patreon. And so I started doing like some bikini stuff. And then I did like some implied stuff. And it took me a long time to get comfortable with photos of nudity for some reason. Cause I guess like, I was like, oh, that's going to be on the internet forever. Whereas opposed to me modeling at school where no one's allowed to take photos. It's just like you look with your eyes, you know?
Yeah.
So then I started to do that. And then, you know, I ended up making a pretty good amount of money. And then I was like, well, I'm going to invest in my body because that is now part of my job. right?
Mhm.
Just like how, you invest in anything for whatever parts of your job.
Right.
And going back to our beginning conversations, I've always wanted to look like a video game character. I'm talking Lara Croft. I
Mhm.
grew
Right.
up playing Tomb Raider and I was like, oh, she's an icon. I want to look just like her when I'm older.
Yeah.
Or like looking in comic books, like, whereas some women might be like, oh, it's so gross that they're like sexualizing women. Me, with my huge brain, I say, ooga booga, I like that. I want to look like that. I want to
Right.
be a hot chick like that. Sign me up. So I was not blessed with large breasts. So I
Mhm.
decided to make myself how I always wanted to look, right?
Yeah.
So I did that. I got my first boob job and I loved it. It was fantastic. And then I upgraded from there because I just wanted something a little bit more cartoony. I felt like I looked too realistic. Most people are always like, oh, you gotta look like plastic surgery looks so good when it's realistic. And I'm like, yeah, the opposite though. What if I looked like a cartoon? That's yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started to do that more, and then I got more into like, I guess what really got me from being a pretty normal G-rated, I wouldn't say G-rated, but like a pretty normal YouTuber to now an adult content creator is that through Patreon and talking to these people that were sub to me, I realized how much mental health I was doing. And I
Mhm.
know that sounds so weird, but there was a lot of people who were subscribed to me. And I'm not just talking men. I had a lot of lesbians as well as trans women who idolized me because they wanted to look like me when they're done with their surgeries and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Sex work really opened up the door for me to be a more kind and empathetic person.
Mhm.
I realized that being a bimbo or like, just doing the content that I do was so freeing to a lot of people who would buy my content because they're like, oh, this is what I love, but either I'm single or my partner isn't interested in it.
Right.
And I don't want to force my partner to do something that they're uncomfortable with, or that makes them feel like, degraded or like, uh, uncomfortable in any way, basically.
Right.
Well, with at least through digital sex work, and I do always say the caveat, like, I hope you were telling your partner what you're doing, because then it can get a
Right.
little
Yeah.
weird. But like, as long as you're telling someone like, hey, this person offers this very specific kink that you are not into and I don't want to force you into,
Right.
right? But
Mhm.
I love and respect you, but also this is something that really gets my jollies rustled, so I'm
Sure.
in a consensual way. It is very freeing and healing for a lot of my people to have a little bit of an escapism with that.
Right.
I saw the value in that, and I saw how it was changing people, for like making them feel more comfortable, making them feel less judged, making them feel less shame, all these things. And I was like, that's really beautiful, actually. And then I'd also get to know them, and sometimes they'd be like, oh, I had a really hard day at work. And so I would end up, this is not the best thing, and I don't recommend it for people who want to get into sex work because it can be really taxing. But I
Mhm.
also kind of became a little bit of a therapist for these people as well, and being like,
Yeah.
hey, every day, your work shouldn't treat you like that, and you need to stand up for yourself or whatever. And I really got in a lot of my top supporters' corners and just be like, bro, yeah, you can look at my tits and all that stuff, but also I'm a human being and I'm here to connect with you. And like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be suffering in A, B, and C. And so I saw all these things in front of me and I was like, this is kind of awesome. And it's hard to understand that unless you do the job,
Right.
Yeah.
Because when I try to tell random people like, oh, sex work is actually really healing and I'm actually changing people's lives, people laugh. And I totally get that because it doesn't sound that
I could see that
serious.
for sure. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And like, it sounds like so silly, but once you start seeing the impact that you do, it became really important work to me. And that's why I wanted to even go further with sex work than just posting just, tasteful Playboy-esque nudes,
Right.
Mhm.
because I started to see that. And yeah, and so now today I have like a really good chunk of supporters who totally know that I'm married, are very respectful of Justin, my husband, not this Justin, although I'm
Not
sure
me.
that you're
No,
lovely.
yeah.
Another Justin. And,
Yeah.
oftentimes, like, we've done conventions before. There was a line for my husband like, he wasn't even having
Awesome.
a meet and greet. And people would come up and be like, yo, I love the way you light the videos. And so, like, he also has a fan base now. And so it's been like a really welcoming, beautiful community for us that I know a lot of my peers have been difficult to, introduce their partners or like their own sexualities or whatever. But for me, I've had the complete opposite of that, where my fan base is totally supportive of me and my husband. Are big fans of us, actually want to get to know us and constantly check in on us, make sure we're okay.
Yeah.
And it's, so when you have like a great fan base like that, why would you not want to continue with working with them, So I
Right.
think that's kind of like what got me from A to B.
That's very cool. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot there, right?
Yeah.
I'm fully of the mind, and this probably comes from me, like, growing up in a very repressed, like, religious household, and after getting away from that, just, being like, let's go, buck wild,
Of course, yeah.
But I do think that, like, if we just as a people could just, like, lose a lot of our hangups around sex in general,
Mhm.
and one, not, like, put it on this pedestal of it being, like, this, like, holy, sanctified thing that is only
Right.
for the marriage bedroom, but also just be like, you can have fun with it. And, it
Totally.
laugh during sex,
Yeah.
have silly sex, have an honest
All of it.
conversation about the kinks that you have, and experiment and whatnot. Like, that is, I think we would be a much, like, happier people overall.
Absolutely.
But also, Stephanie, like, I think for you, probably a big part of it is that it's you doing the content, right? Like, so it's a more personal
Mhm.
type of thing, as opposed to like the old studio days. Although
Yes.
I do have questions about that, but it's sort of like running a podcast, or
Yeah.
I've gotten into like VTubing recently, so it's like the personality aspect of it, and like kind of glomming on to that aspect, and like getting a message on OnlyFans, like even if it's just like a blast saying like, hey, I hope you guys are doing okay. It's like, oh, like, that's that's nice, like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. And it's like, you're right. I think the personal connection is also what draws me to it, because, like, I'm not ashamed to admit it. When I was a high schooler, I didn't have a boyfriend or anything like that. I looked at porn too. Yeah, I was, just like,
Right.
I'm no better than a man. Okay. I'm out there looking at porn as well. And I didn't really feel a connection to like the random, porn stars that I saw there. Cause I this was before social media. Like,
Right.
we weren't following them or anything like that. That was not a thing. But now I do think that has totally changed, and you can follow these people and really get to know them and see like, oh yeah, she might make really hot content, but I'm not really into her personality, or like, I really
Right.
like her personality, but like, oh, she doesn't make the content I like or whatever.
Right.
So that's kind of you can get even more personalized experience that way.
Mhm.
And yeah, like, I also, going back on it a little bit more, like, the other part about it that is so fascinating to me is, my parents were both psychologists. So I grew up
Interesting.
like really, I grew up thinking a lot about why people do things, why the behavior of people around me. And, even like, I'm very curious about kinks, because a lot of these things we can't control. We are, one random event in your childhood was suddenly rewire your brain, and that's not your choice, right?
It happens.
Exactly. And like, or, we always say feet, because that is a literal, like, not messed up in a bad way, but like the rewiring of that, it's from birth, like, that is just something that innately can happen to you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how it happens. And so I'm very fascinated by all that. So when I love hearing about people's kinks, I always give them grace, and even if it's not my thing, which the majority of it's not, I always try to make sure I answer with like, without shame and without judgment.
Right.
Because I'm like, these people can't control it. Damn, I don't need to be a bitch about it. But also, I like to ask questions. Like, for example, I so wish I found out. I'm sorry to leave you guys on a cliff note.
Oh, it's okay.
But there was a person that was obsessed with silk capes. And I was like, and I was like, oh, please tell me why. I am so
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah.
Like, please, please, please. And he never told me. And I was like, promise you, bro, I'm not trying to make fun of you. I just like would love to know if there was like an inciting, you know, like, did your mom wear silk blouses? Like what's the
Right.
connection here? You know, and it was specifically silk capes. And yeah, and it was just like things like that are so like interesting, right?
For
Like
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
how the human brain can connect things. It's really fascinating.
Justin used to have a podcast where he would play porn games.
Yes.
And like do like basically a let's play over them, which was like a great time because Justin's asexual and he was just he basically just like critiquing like, you know, the
Yeah.
story and like the gameplay or lack thereof. But at a certain
Sure.
point, as we were like about a year into the pandemic, I was like, you know what, let me try one of these out because I want to
Yep.
see what Justin's seeing. And then I was
Sure.
like, oh, I'm actually enjoying this on a different level than
Yeah.
Justin's
Yeah.
humor level. And so
Yeah.
then it's a thing where it's like I'll play one and it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm into that now.
Yeah.
That unlocks
didn't
something.
yeah, didn't see that
Yeah.
coming. I'm right there with you, like on the psychology of it. I've had various friends that are sex workers of different types over the years, and I actually befriended like a cam girl that lived in New Zealand like years ago, and I used to work a night shift, and so she would call me like after like a particular, you know, like session. She'd be like, "You won't believe like what
Yes.
the shit that just happened. Like, let me tell you about this guy." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, dish!" And it was like the
Yes.
most fascinating shit.
Yeah.
You know, just like the psychology of it. You know, she was like a bigger lady, but like I remember like there was this one where she was like, "Yeah, like the text is always like." Over the top proportions. Like he wants me to talk about my tits being like, you know, 18 times bigger than they are, and his
Oh,
dick is
yeah.
like 20 times bigger than it is, and this and that. And I was like, how would that work? Like that just doesn't.
Yeah.
When you stop to think about it, it's just not going to work. But whatever, you know,
Yeah.
you do you. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as the bimbofication route of everything,
Mhm.
you say it's not a persona. I guess I'm trying to figure out the dichotomy between and mainly because like I'm curious about the audience as far as like if you do have issues where some people overstep, right? Because you know there are the posts of like I'm just holes for your enjoyment, you know, that
Yes.
type of thing. But you also have obviously like tons to say, right? Like
Yeah.
you know you are not just that part of your career or your persona or your personality.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of curious like how you toe that line, but also like how the audience, you know, reacts to it. Like if you do come out and say like, no, but I've got shit to say, and then if there's like a portion of the audience that's like, no, but you're holes, you know what I mean? Like,
Right. So I think because I've had so many years online where because of YouTube and you know, just me generally being a cosplayer and meeting people and all that stuff, I think I built up like a really good amount of eyeballs on my personality first.
Mm.
So I really do not get very like sure I'll get the occasional Twitter troll as everyone does, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
But when it comes to people who've actually signed up or pay for my content, if someone says something that I'm like, hey, I'm not comfortable with that, I'll let them know. Like, I'll be
Right.
like, hey, I understand you want to like, you know, role play right now or sext or like, you know, whatever. But the word you're specifically using is like making me uncomfortable. I'll say that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they will, I would say 99.9% of them are like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I will, you know,
Right.
and maybe there's like, I would say maybe one a year. Like that's how
Yeah.
infrequent it is. One a year will just be like, you are a fucking bitch, blah, 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 whatever. And, you
Right.
know, I block those people and I move on with my day. But I would say I really don't get a lot of people that overstep my boundaries if I put them in place, you know?
That's good.
And which I'm so thankful for. I don't know why that is really. I'm very thankful. I think it is because I yap so much on social media, and I think people are kind of forced to like listen to me. Also, if they want to see the horny content, they have to see also like me complaining about Marvel Snap or something that I'm into at the moment, you know, like
Right.
something stupid. So I think I truly have no strategy for this type of like, oh, we should post this, like a lot of people will be like, oh, at noon every day, I post the thirst trap. And then, at 3 p.m., I have to do blah, blah, blah. I don't have a schedule like that.
Yeah.
I freeball it. I do what feels right to me. I do like, real posts or serious posts if I'm feeling like that, because I feel like that is how you maintain that level of realism. It's not curated, it's natural. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, wait, I have a job to do. I also have to post something horny. Let's do that too. It's just like, I'm very chaotic in that way, but I think that chaos has kind of morphed me into someone that people see as me as a real person, because I also have peers who all they post is like, thirst trap and then like an ad for their OnlyFans, thirst trap OnlyFans,
Right.
But in real life, they're like amazing, like personality, and they have so many thoughts and opinions, but they don't show that. That's not part of their job. So they just do not show it. And I think those people have a harder time curating an audience that respects their personality.
Yeah,
And,
I can see that.
Yeah. And I get both ends. Like, yeah, they're probably making more money than me because they're constantly promoting themselves and like doing the work. And that's so fair. But for me, I would rather not have as many fans or followers because I'm posting not just thirst traps, like I'm posting, hey, I have a brain. Hey, I have a personality. Hey, I have feelings, kinds of things sometimes.
Right.
I'll take that, like I'll take an audience that can absorb that over an audience that just wants to see me only as, holes, even when I say like, hey, not today, not right now,
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's funny. That's actually kind of a similar thought process behind this show, which is, would we like to have like a larger audience? Sure. But not if we have to change what we're doing or who we are, because at the end of the day, it's like we're doing stuff that makes us laugh, and
that's important
right off the bat, right? The idea of making a video game variety show and making the theme song and logo a reference to Ronan Martin's Laugh-In from the 60s is probably not like the best way to get an audience, because it's like what it, there's no no one has any context for that anymore. It's such an old thing, right? But it made me happy. Like it
made Julian happy. Yes.
Yeah.
You got to do that. Like I totally agree with you. Like I don't even have a TikTok because I'm like, oh God, we got to do this now. We got to do this.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. And I know that that's beneficial for my job and I should do it, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not fun for me. And I feel like to do a creative job, whether it be podcasting or even like Twitch streaming or whatever it is, like following the trends solo, like just the trends alone, it's so soul sucking. You can't do that.
Right.
Absolutely.
And like, I just feel like you gotta be you first.
Yeah. And I think also for you, like, I think one of the benefits is that it does make the sex component of it like more authentic, because it's like when you're posting it, you're likely more like in the mood to post it. Or you blend like certain things together. Like I really liked your little Silent Hill video series that you did on Twitter like a couple weeks ago.
Thank you. I'm very proud of that.
That's really cool, because like not only did you shoot it and make it look like an old ass Silent Hill game with like the weird camera angles and stuff like that, but you still had like the sexy component to it, and then it had like a fun little twist ending, and I was like, that's good. That's some good shit.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because it is some of my favorite stuff. I legitimately moved to a town that is extremely foggy, and it's basically a very small like mountain town.
Gotcha.
And I did that for, after the pandemic. I love Los Angeles so much. I will never talk shit about it. But I also couldn't stand it anymore because of after the pandemic, everything changed. Just there was more crime. There was unfortunately more houseless people. And it was really sad to see my neighborhood change in a negative way, where it became more dirtier and more crime heavy. It just wasn't conducive for my mental health anymore.
Right.
So I moved to Silent Hill, and surprisingly, things are much better.
Hey, crazy.
Yeah.
I think I've got the title.
Yeah.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Ned Bortley, here again to tell you about Save the Billionaires. With so much uncertainty in the economy, the wealth of billionaires is growing at a slightly slower rate than it has in previous years. Visit Save the Billionaires website, and you can select a billionaire to sponsor for as little as $1 a day. With your help, we can make sure that billionaires continue to grow and lessen the effects of a faltering economy. You may ask yourself, aren't there people more deserving of my charity? And the answer is, shut up. I've been Ned Bortley for Save the Billionaires.
One thing that I was curious about, because your stuff is so it's all like you and your husband basically doing all of this stuff. Have you ever been interested in doing like something for like a studio, like a Vivid or like an Adult Time or something like that, or is there more baggage there than you're willing to deal with?
Great question. So I have thought about it, but then I have a couple friends that have done studio work exclusively, actually. And they don't do it anymore because, and I had an inkling that this was correct, and I'm glad that I was right. Yes, the money is good, but the money they give you is like like the sum of, you get one payment, basically.
Okay.
One payment for that video, right? That video gets to live on Pornhub for eternity. You do not have rights to that. You do not get to say like, hey, I'm actually trying to get a job at Disney and I don't want to be associated with that. Like, please take it down. That's never going to happen. You do not have ownership over that. You do not have, someone else could upload that clip and make money off of it. You cannot copyright claim that. Right.
Right.
So for me, that is what I can't do that. I simply can't do it. Because I want to own my content. I also want to edit my own content to make sure that like there's a flattering angle on me all the time. Okay.
Right.
Like, let's be
That
real.
makes sense.
I like the lighting looks good on me. And and if it doesn't, because this has actually happened before, we filmed like entire videos and then I'd be like, oh, that one shot is just so nasty. And we'll have to film it again.
Yeah.
And like that, I would much rather do that, and I feel comfortable with the quality of the content. But like, on a set like that, they're not going to do that. They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, your cellulite was really popping here. You want to come in for one more round because this is like,
right.
You probably won't like how you look. That's never going to happen. I won't have control over that. The other good thing about working for studios is that they have a huge fan base. So like, you can definitely get a lot of like your own followers that will bring you to your own OnlyFans and things like that.
Right.
So I do see like that as a promotional tool is cool. But also like, I don't do like extreme stuff that you usually will see in studio work.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't even know if they'd even want me because I'm not doing like, 5 dicks in one hole or like things like that. Like I'm not doing that. So I'm like, I don't even know if they even want me. But yeah, so I just think that if you want to do this job long term, you need to protect yourself and also realize what you are worth and set your own, like own that content, And I know OnlyFans is like, they take a percentage. So is it like any better, blah, blah, blah. But it is better as far as you have control. You can delete your content, you can delete your content off OnlyFans if you wanted to. You can do whatever you want with that content. So that's my big like spiel about studio work.
Nice.
There you go.
How difficult is it as far as being able to promote? Because from my perspective, it just seems like anytime that a sex worker is trying to put themselves out there, so often they get nuked. Like I've seen you like vanish from Tumblr like I think 3 times since since I discovered like this new aspect of you.
Yeah. It's not great.
Right.
To
Yeah.
be clear, it's not the best thing, but also like even though it's a cesspool, Twitter is a great place to advertise. And Reddit is also wonderful if you get on the good subreddits that are like allowing you to be a person.
Yeah.
And also like just things like, for example, the Silent Hill videos on my Instagram. While that doesn't necessarily say like, hey, I have an OnlyFans, please come check it out. I'm definitely like very bouncy and I'm wearing like a sexy revealing costume. So hopefully you will put 2 and 2 together and know like, hey, this girl, she might have a secret site, you know?
Right.
So like sometimes just like showing off your personality in a fun video that isn't necessarily like overtly an advertisement, but also like, you know, maybe it's you in a bikini or like you making a sexual innuendo or something. That is how you can skirt around the censorship laws. And I have been trying to do that more, and I feel like it's been very, very successful for me. I like mixing comedy or, you know, something kind of silly, because I feel like, you know, I'm a pretty joyful person. So I try to have that into my content, that I'm not just like a sexy girl that wants your money. I can also like laugh with you and joke with you and things like that. So I try to show that off as a way of promotion. And also just like being yourself, honestly. Like there's been times where I just rant about, you know, an anime I'm watching. And I will get like a ton of impressions about that. And then people will follow me and see what else I do, you know, because it was a genuine like critique or love of it that I had to say.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how well that stuff works as well.
I believe it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, like one of the reasons that this is happening right now is I had seen you advertising your appearance at a convention at Dallas, where it was like, hey, if you like buy enough, you know, this much merch, like, you know, you can do this, like we have these lewd shots that you can take.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that's close enough to where I live that I wouldn't mind just going to that for like the story that it would be on the show.
Yeah.
And also to like send to just like, hey, Justin, check this shit out.
Yeah.
And then I saw that you were dressed as Chun-Li, and that's one of Justin's favorite
that's my
characters.
and
I was like,
awesome.
all-time favorite. Yeah.
I should have gone. But honestly, Stephanie, what I would love to do with you, I was thinking about this as we were leading up to the show. You would be perfect in a geek-centered reimagining of USA Up All Night.
You know what? So many people have said that to me. Oh my God. I would love to.
Your personality is like perfect for it.
Talking to you now, I'm like, oh yeah, no, 100%. I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Up All Night. What was her name?
Rhonda Shear.
Rhonda Shear. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I would love to do something like that. I think that'd be so fun and campy. Although I'm definitely not a goth, I feel like, you know, somehow Elvira is my mother. And I definitely have like, you know, that bimbo Rhonda Shear vibes as well. And just like, you know, that combination of like a cutesy personality. I would love to do that. If anyone's listening out there that wants to do that, yes. The answer is yes, I'd love to do that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And you're funny too. Like I've seen some of your videos where it's like, that's some good comedy chops, and that's some good acting there too. And I think that's a thing that gets lost, I think, with certain the shift from like the studio stuff to more like amateur style stuff or reality porn type of genres is that like the acting kind of fell away. Now with like people doing like more personal stuff, I think the stuff that I end up gravitating towards is the people that are actually really good at putting together a scene or playing a character or, you know, doing a bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love a story. I love a story. I think one of my first porn things I ever was like, oh my God, what? I read Bondage Fairies and hentai manga.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about fairies and they wear bondage. It's crazy. So
Great.
they
Who could?
Yeah.
I could have never figured that out.
I
you know?
know. It's crazy.
That was my first. That was actually my first hentai manga. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but there was like a story there, and I was like, "Whoa!" So now, as much as I can, like sometimes it's just like a quick video, whatever. But as much as I can, like Justin, my husband again.
Mhm.
No offense to
Yes.
this Justin here.
Oh
But
no, you're fine.
we will we will sit down and we'll write like scripts or ideas or like phrases we want to include in our videos, and we will do like a whole like, okay, the storyline is we start out here and then we go here. And so all of my huge videos, especially the ones I collab with my friends, we all we memorize lines and stuff. We really try to bring that back into the space, because I feel like, for me at least, I need to know. I love a little story.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
I think there's some art there, and I also enjoy acting, and we also try to put maybe something funny in there as well. So I do think that that's important to have in, because a lot of people forget that just because it's porn, it doesn't mean it can't be art. It can't be some
Right.
an actual film. So we do try to put a lot of our personalities and writing and all that kind of stuff into my content.
Yeah.
And it shows, and it's fun. And if there's people that are listening that have not checked it out, go check it out.
There you go.
Link in show description. Not bio, because we don't have a bio, but link in show description.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I feel that we've learned a lot about you,
Absolutely.
and it's been really cool. But now let's kind of move, flash forward to today,
Yes.
and just kind of what you've been up to, gaming wise,
Oh, I've been waiting for this.
whatever
Hell
you
yeah.
want to hit.
Yeah. So, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me. This has been so wonderful.
I'm having a blast. This is great.
Me
Okay,
too.
cool.
Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
being here and
No,
being
this
so
is
generous
so
with your
fun.
time. It's
Yeah.
been awesome.
This is great. So I've been using, not to be a downer or anything, but I've been dealing with a bit of grief lately. If anyone on social media knows, unfortunately I had a friend pass away.
Oh, okay.
And she was a fellow cosplayer. We did a lot of videos together that, are no longer available. And she was my friend for about 15 years.
Yeah. I'm very sorry to hear
and-
that.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that sounds really weird to say, talk a show about video games, but
No, not at all.
that video games lately is how I've been handling grief. And I've been playing a lot of games specifically that deal with that to help me process emotions. It's
Mhm.
hard for me to, I can say oh, I'm sad, but it's hard for me to express more intricate or smaller details of my grief.
Yeah.
And I've been using a lot of video games lately to help me process it. I actually watched your podcast about split fiction.
Okay.
And while I agree that the story is not fantastic, first of all, I think they should have been lesbians. Sorry. I wanted them to kiss. I really did.
That's fair.
But there is a specific part that no spoilers, don't worry, but please play the game. But there's a specific part that deals with grief, and that just set me off. I was oh my God, I wasn't expecting it, because mostly the writing and the story up to that point had been pretty surface level, nothing super crazy, but there was just one part that hit me and I needed to feel that.
Yeah.
And I thought that one part was really helped me process some things. And then
Right.
I am now, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. I'm now doing, I just finished Indiana Jones, The Great Circle, which was
Yes.
not grief based. I thought it might be, but it's not. It wasn't. That was just fun. That was
Right.
just fun. But I also, I'm now just starting Expedition 33. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
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 Yep. So I'm having a lot of feelings, which is great. Like I am more gravitating towards these like more intense, sad stories right now because it's just helping me process a lot of things.
Sure.
I'm also going to replay. Have you guys played Grease?
I have not.
I thought you
Highly
would have played it,
recommend it.
Justin.
No, it's made by the Neva people.
Right.
Or Nave. I always mispronounce that one.
Yeah, I think it's Grease. It might be Gray. I'm not too sure.
It's gray in French, I believe.
French, yes, it is French.
Yeah.
That one is a beautiful game. It's also about grief. I played it many years ago and I want to play it again. And then I am also playing, surprisingly, I know this doesn't sound like it's very helpful, but I've been playing a ton of my Marvel Rivals because I think just like the act of, you know, when you're in the stages of grief, you sometimes feel angry just out of nowhere.
Mhm.
You know, just shooting a character, ooh, sometimes it just feels good.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just what you need to just like do a little violence.
Yeah.
And that has been very cathartic to me, to help with my anger and my frustration about, you know, having someone that I love not in my life anymore. And I love that video games can do that. You know, like no one invented Marvel Rivals to be like, this is a tool for grief. No one did that.
Yeah.
And yet art, you know, is in the eye of the person who's playing it, right?
Right.
And it's become that tool for me. And that has been really helpful for my mental health, like surprisingly. But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of that, and it's been a really great thing for me, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really like playing games has really helped me process stuff and understand things and also like articulate stuff. It's been a wonderful time, you know. Unfortunately, you know, a sad time, but also like you know, for someone like me who it's very difficult for me to find a therapist because in Southern California there's just not enough therapists. There's too many people, so the wait list is months long.
I believe that. Yeah.
And even when you get a therapist, they may not be the right fit for you.
Right.
So I have been trying for many years to find the perfect fit for me. And I don't want to do BetterHelp and all that stuff because, you know, some of those things I don't know how.
Sketchy.
It's
A little sketchy.
Yeah.
So it's been difficult for me to find someone to talk to. But the art that I'm, you know, playing and also watching, that has been, you know, not that it's a replacement for therapy, but it's definitely been helping, you know, which is wonderful that we have media like that can help you.
Yeah.
So
I think me and Justin probably each have a suggestion for you.
Yeah,
please.
right. Yeah.
I'll go
absolutely.
first. So my mom was killed in a car accident about 10 years ago. And I've never really processed it, but games have come the closest to helping me with that. And Spiritfarer, if you haven't played that one.
Ooh, I haven't. I'm going to write that down.
It's it's, you know, you would call it a cozy game. It's got a lot of kind of Animal Crossing type mechanics of, you know, building things and crafting things and stuff like that. But the whole thrust of the game is that you are the new person that is ferrying the dead. And they're embodied in like kind of animal forms. And so you'll go to an island, you'll find someone that's on an island, bring them onto your ship, and then they'll live on the ship for a while, and you kind of get to know them and you get their story. You satisfy the things that they're wanting. Like, you know, sometimes they want like a very specific type of house, or they want like a type of food. You know, there's different like quests assigned to them. But then at a certain point, it's time to take them and ferry them on and say goodbye. And there was like one character in there that the whole story was so much my mom. And I can't go back and play it because like it destroyed me. And I like every time that I think about it, like I just like break down. But it's such a powerful game, and it's so soothing and cathartic, and couldn't recommend it enough. It was my game of the year that year.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for sharing that. I will definitely play that. That sounds amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess I would suggest Closer the Distance, which I think came out last year.
Yeah.
Which is it's basically The Sims, but you're playing as a ghost who's trying to guide like an entire town into kind of coming to terms with the fact that she's died. So, they're a very small town. So like you have people that were her very good friends, or people that she was dating, and her sister and her mom and all this stuff. And it's very intense. It's very good. It is.
Yeah. It's very real.
100%. Yeah. Very real. It's 100% about processing the whole thing. And there's a lot of moments where I don't really get choked up about certain things, but that game got me a couple times. So yeah.
Ooh, okay. Well, thank you. I'm definitely, I wrote them down. I'm definitely going to check them out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, with the Marvel Rivals thing too, like I totally get that. Like
yeah.
Diablo 3 is that's my process game. That's my I am dealing with some heavy shit in the back of my brain over here.
Right.
But in the front of my brain, I'm just like making demons turn into paste, and the numbers are going up, and I'm getting better loot, and like it's just
number good.
that cycle.
Yes.
Yeah, number go up good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to, like turn off your brain. And this is good for your brain sometimes, to turn it off, to just be like, I'm just going to focus on this small little task, give myself some serotonin for a second, and just process those bigger emotions when I have the bandwidth for that. And yeah, I think that having a little, we might call them silly games or like not serious games, but they're such a great tool when you're having a hard time. So I love that. That's great that you have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what else have you been up to? I mean, that's I'm sorry you're going through that. It's a heavy time, and it's one of those things where it's like, I haven't lost a friend yet, but having grief like is it sits with you, and it's kind of hard to really do much with it. But have there been other games that you've been up to, or have you been like trying? Is there like any like comfort shows that you've been like falling back on, or checking out like any movies or anything?
Yeah, so I've been watching. I've never seen it before, so I wanted to give it a watch. One of my husband's favorite shows is Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, and I've never seen it before, so we've been watching that, and we're watching it on Blu-ray. All right, we have the Blu-ray DVD, and it's wonderful.
Intense.
So we're now on season 3, and things are getting serious.
Yeah.
And I'm having a lot of fun with that. It is also, not a very light show, but it is wonderfully written. I'm really enjoying the characters. I cannot believe people do not talk about Battlestar Galactica as often as like, I don't know, Star Wars or Star Trek,
Right.
I feel like it's up there with the caliber of its writing and characters. So it's really interesting to me that when I say it, some people are like, huh? What?
No, you're not wrong, because it was such a juggernaut when it was on, and then it kind of faded, and I don't really know why. It's funny because I just watched like a YouTube video where it was like a 20-year little like deep dive on the show, and I was like, yeah, man, like I was actually living in like my first apartment on my own when Battlestar came out, and my friend John Golston, who's our show announcer, he actually got me into it. He came to visit, and he brought like the whole miniseries, and he was like, I brought this over. I don't know if you're going to be into it, but I thought we'd check it out. And then we just like binged like the whole miniseries in like a night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, and I've been wanting to revisit it. And actually, so we do a Patreon show called Cinemorons, where we recommend movies and TV to each other, and we watch them. And like I'll just say it, like the miniseries of Battlestar Galactica is on my short list.
I'm sure.
Like
I'm
at some
sure
point
that's
we're
fine.
gonna do that.
That's fine. I'm into it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really great. I really like it. I like in the first season I was trying to guess who was a Cylon. That's not much of a spoiler to anyone who hasn't seen it.
Right.
But I was like, oh, that person's a Cylon. I know it. and I actually got some right. I was like, oh, I knew it. So but it was very fun to try to guess like who's a spy and who's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then other than that, I'd say like I just watched Sinners and I just watched Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Both amazing.
Yeah.
for totally different reasons that both are just so wonderful. So I'm having a lot of fun with the fandoms of those movies online right now.
There you go.
They're both blowing up, which is as they should.
Sinner's fan art is fucking awesome.
Oh God, it's so good.
Yeah.
Talented groups over there in the fandom spaces. God, what else am I watching? Well, I'm watching really stupid shows. Again, when you're in grief mode, sometimes you just need to watch something stupid.
Comfort food's good.
And lighthearted. And boy, am I having a fun time watching at night. Like right before we go to bed, we'll watch Nightman. Does anyone know what Nightman is?
Nightman.
That's like it's like a 90s superhero show, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the one where he's paralyzed?
No, but kind of. A little bit, maybe. So here's the thing. Nightman is a Marvel property, so MCU.
Okay.
Here it is.
All right.
And it's from the 90s, and it's awful. And it's so bad. But it's so fun to watch. Ooh, I love like a good bad show, you know? And they definitely had not figured out how, superhero suits work. He flies. Oh my God, the way he flies is amazing. He flies like, you think Superman has the arms out, or like maybe to the side, like an Iron Man type of thing,
right.
Very heroic looking thing. He literally has his arms just laying like in front of him like that, and he'll just fly standing up.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's really good. I love it.
And that's how he'll fly. And it's just like, it looks like he's depressed. Like he'll just be in the city, just like his arms just hanging down, by his waist, just like, I'm flying,
You have to get he's going to get where he's going, but he's not really enthused to do it.
He's not stoked about it,
Yeah, no.
It's like, so I love that they had not figured out that type of like,
great.
It's just it looks so cheesy and amazing.
I love it.
And and so also it stars this whole thing. Sorry, I gotta talk about it. It's so silly.
No, absolutely.
It's just so funny. So the main character is Johnny Domino, okay? And he is already amazing.
Okay.
He is a famous jazz saxophone player.
Okay.
And he has his own jazz club that he in San Francisco, and he's like the star of it. But he can never really be there because he's also Nightman. So he has to be out at night, obviously. So what does he do? Don't worry, he has a hologram that just projects him playing all night long, and he just turns it on, and he goes off, and then he turns it back off when he's done.
Perfect.
And it was just like, of course, that's great. No one has any questions for that.
I have no notes. That's perfect.
No notes. No one questions that.
He takes no requests.
No requests, and that's so funny too because there's some episodes where they're like, Johnny, I noticed that you played like this song twice in a row. That was so weird, and he's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, the tech is not there, buddy. You're not fooling people. People are finding flaws. So it's a lot of that. Little Richard. It's cameos in like the third episode.
Okay.
I don't know how they got that. The first episode ends with oh my God, what's his name? He's from Baywatch. God, what is his name?
Hasselhoff?
Yes, he's in it. At the very end.
That sounds like the caliber of show.
That sounds like something he would be associated with.
In the first episode, there's this big bad female boss, and she's like, blah blah blah, we're gonna kill Nightman, blah blah blah, right? And then at the very end, she's like, my co bad guy, I was wondering when you were gonna show up, and you just see him from the back, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And literally like the last 5 minutes, and then the camera zooms around, and it's David Hasselhoff, and he's like, yes, I have finally arrived. And I thought that he was going to be like, because they made such a show of it, that he was going to be like maybe the bad guy for the rest of the show. No, Nightman comes, and he was like, you should have never hassled me.
Oh God.
Throws him off a cliff, and he's dead. And I'm like, this show's amazing. A+.
Not Batman. He will murder David Hasselhoff.
He will murder.
He's not afraid.
Nightman's going to murder.
Oh yeah,
Nightman's definitely going to murder.
Yeah,
that's good.
And that's like
good.
the pinnacle of Hasselhoffdom, right? That's like when Baywatch is still like red hot.
Yeah.
So that's like a huge pop off moment.
Absolutely.
In that episode of Nightman.
It was a big get. So we've been watching, like, and surprisingly, there is 2 seasons. I thought it got canceled after 1.
Okay.
I'm
No.
sure that was that got the
2
biggest pop out of me.
seasons.
I can't believe they made 2 seasons of it. Oh my god.
So we've been watching this just being like, oh my god, this is so bad. How do people, like, sometimes you just need to turn your brain off and have a little silly time. So
Right.
Nightman, I highly recommend Nightman. Oh my god.
Oh, I
For
really
that
want to
silly
watch
time.
this now. This sounds perfect. Oh
It's
boy.
yes. Please give me all of your notes about it, because
Yeah.
it's just like there's so many things we're like, but they did that was bad. And it was like, yes, it was bad. And 2
Yeah.
seasons they got. But they also have this wonderfully amazing woman in it. She's like, I think her name is Jennifer in the show.
Okay.
And she's kind of like this sultry, like, radio DJ,
Okay.
you know?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
she's wonderful. I think she would have made an incredible.
Please tell me that she's doing like some really nice, like low key, like narrating when he's like prowling in the streets and she's doing her radio show.
I wish. See, that would be good.
That would
That's
make
a good idea.
Yeah.
Nightman does not have good ideas.
No.
Okay.
I wish that
That's
would have been
perfect.
such an easy thing to do. They tried to start, they kind of did that a little bit the first episode,
Sure.
but then they dropped it, unfortunately. Anyway, she's wonderful. If you are actually looking for someone who's actually a really good actor in the show, I think Jennifer, whoever plays her, is wonderful. And she could have honestly been like, if in another universe, if there was like an X-Men TV show or something, I think
Sure.
she would have been an amazing Storm.
Okay.
She's absolutely gorgeous and a great actress. So I actually genuinely love watching when she's on screen, even if the shit she's saying is stupid. She's like very charismatic and fun to watch. So there's that, at least. But yeah, even down to the Nightman car. He has a Plymouth Prowler in dark purple. It is ugly as fuck. It is so ugly. I cannot believe that they allowed that on our screens. It was just, every choice they made was like, you made that choice.
Yeah, I love the fact that he is his day job is a night job.
It's great.
Yes.
He's also
Yes.
called Nightman, and
Yes.
his car is a Prowler. It's like
Yes,
they just really wanted to hammer that home.
Yeah.
they did.
They really
And
did.
also it's like, it's really interesting too how he got his powers, because I don't really understand. He was on a trolley in San Francisco during the daytime. Okay. Why is he called Dayman? But he's not, he's Nightman.
He's Nightman.
He's Nightman. All that happened was he got struck by lightning, and now he has all these powers.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, if you get struck by lightning naturally, you just get superpowers. I don't know if
he just
anybody
gets
knew that.
superpowers.
Yeah.
I guess.
But then okay. So then he could just be Dayman. Yeah, he could, like, it doesn't sound like his powers are like tied to the night. His job has a conflict with
Julian,
the
he's out in the
vigilantism.
night. What else is he going to call himself? Lightning Man? That's probably
Yeah.
already taken.
I'm
Okay.
just
Yeah.
saying crime happens in the day too. Like,
That's so
Well,
true.
that's somebody else's problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Nightman
So-
deals with night crimes.
That's very true. They
Yeah.
also don't mention this, but I looked him up because I'm like, is this a real Marvel character? Like, I just wanted to know the lore of Nightman.
Yeah.
He is a real comic book character who actually, they tried to like make him pop off. They had a run with, it was Nightman and Wolverine and Nightman and Gambit. They like
Oh,
did
wow.
official. Yeah, and I was
Okay.
like, wait, you're putting them with 2 A-listers? The confidence.
I don't want to look him up, but I have this memory of like a guy with like red goggles.
He has a red eye,
Okay.
like that, like a
Yes.
laser eye, one red eye.
I'm looking at
Long
him
brown
now.
hair.
He does have longish hair, yes.
Okay. I can
Oh my
I can
God.
almost picture him.
He's so 90s.
Oh
Yeah.
man, he super is. Holy shit.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Oh, it's
So
great.
I think I don't think they talk about this in the TV show, which totally would make so much more sense than I wish that they did. But the reason he's called Nightman is that part of his powers gave him permanent insomnia. Like, he can never sleep.
Okay.
All right,
So
sure.
that's why he's like always up, because he's like, well, I guess I'm Nightman.
Yeah.
So that's like the key to his name and everything, but they don't talk about that in the show. So it's just like some guy, like just doing things at night and also the daytime.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't believe this has 5.6 stars on fucking IMDb. I'm just looking. I can't get over how Nightman's mask just looks like somebody added a few things to like a Batman mask and took the ears off. Like it is.
Oh my
like,
god, you're right.
It's
does.
super. I'm just like, wow. It's not even subtle. It's fucking nuts.
No.
Oh wow.
It's amazing. So I'm if you need a good silly TV show to turn your brain off, Nightman.
I'm
Amazon
so in.
Prime.
There you go.
I'm so in.
I have to ask you, Stephanie, because Justin's not a comic book geek, so I have someone to bounce this off of now. I'm assuming that you're at least interested, if not excited, for Avengers Doomsday. What are your thoughts of them bringing back like all of the well, not all, but a majority of the like X-Men cast? Because my thought is, let it die. I want new X-Men actors.
I'm in the same boat, and I get so much heat for this on Twitter when I say I do not like the original X-Men films because everyone's like, oh, but I grew up with it. I'm like, great, I grew up with a lot of things that were shitty. Doesn't mean that we have to love them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
They didn't understand the team aspect of the teams.
No, and like I've always said this. Also, please Disney call me. But I've always said this, that X-Men movies should not be a thing. It should be a soap opera.
Yep.
It needs to be a soap opera TV show, because the whole reason I think X-Men has such a large female following, in my opinion, and also queer following, is not just the obvious allegories and themes of feeling displaced and feeling discriminated against, but it's also the fact that there's just some issues where there's no fighting, all drama.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's other comic book series that have this, but this is the only one that I've personally gravitated to, where it's like there's tons of love triangles, and there's right. family issues, and it's not just surface level stuff, it's stuff that builds over time, and like things that still haven't been resolved. One of my favorite plot lines that I'm like, you seriously have to address this, or else I'm going to go shake all of the CEOs of Marvel right now. I'm just going to shake them until they give me what I want. There is, in the Krakoa arc, which is more recent of X-Men, the way that they choose their X-Men in this area is they have a big party, Hellfire Gala, and they telepathically tally up everyone's votes who attended to be like, oh, who do you want to vote for as the new X-Men's? And it's a pretty interesting way to do that. The person that won, one of the persons that won the first year was Polaris, which is the daughter of Magneto, one of my favorite characters. And Polaris has a really difficult relationship with her father. And I was hoping that they were going to have this moment where, Magneto goes up to her and is like, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. You're seen by your peers. That's great for you. Cool. Instead, after the party, Magneto goes home, calls up Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and says, you should come over, and officially adopts Wanda as his child, embraces her, hugs her, cries with her, says like, you're my number one, you're my favorite, I love you, you're my family. And I'm like, oh, hold on. Wait.
Right.
Wait. So it's like things like that where I'm like, that is such a juicy thing to have Polaris and Magneto like talk about that. You didn't celebrate your real, biological daughter. Instead, you went to this, not this other person that's, not to say that she doesn't mean anything, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like things like that where like that is so ripe for like a really interesting conversation between an estranged father and daughter, and like more complex relationships than just like, oh, he cheated on me. Oh no. It's more like interesting like that. So I think the most successful way to have an X-Men live action project is to do a TV show where you can like take that time to explore, like set up a little bit of a relationship thing at the beginning and let it like build even over 2-3 seasons before it's like really like coming to a head.
Especially because like really what I think most X-Men fans would want is that nice like progression of here's the original team and
Mhm.
then they phase out, and then here's the giant size X-Men team that is kind
Right.
of what is most kind of the classic team now, right? But
Right.
you have those phases of like, people leave and people come back, and
Right.
new people come in, and all that
Right.
stuff.
Oh yeah, and that's like also great for so much drama. Like, people leaving the team. Do they feel resentment? Do they feel like whatever? All of those things, and it's so. I feel like it's impossible to scratch the surface of those types of meaty relationships in a 2-hour film.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
absolutely.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's fine.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, some of my favorite issues of X-Men are, hey, we're going to play baseball this issue
Yes.
because we just went through some shit,
Yes.
and it's time to relax, and that's the issue. And those
Mhm.
are some of the best issues because it's all just character building.
Right.
Yes, I totally agree. And, it's also like, yeah, so I really am not excited about them bringing back all of the X-Men characters because I'm like, I understand that a lot of people have affection for them. And, if you love them, that's great for you,
Right.
like
Mhm.
whatever. But I do think that at a point, what are we doing? We need to,
Yeah.
like, a lot of these actors, they're older, and those action movies are so difficult to do. Like, we really need to start fresh. We need to start with people who have the energy for that.
Yeah.
Poor Patrick Stewart. Why are we doing this?
Oh man.
They've
Oh
killed
my
Professor
God.
X like 3 times now.
Yeah.
Let him die. Let him stay dead. It's fine.
It's totally fine. I mean, I love Patrick Stewart, and I think that he
Oh, I
did
do
a
too.
fantastic job. Like, honestly amazing, but also like, we can move on from that, and that's
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not like super excited about it. I don't know, but also I'm like, hey, maybe it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be more optimistic because Thunderbolts really, changed how I feel about Marvel movies because it was really lovely.
It was really invigorating, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to be more positive.
yeah.
We'll see.
It was the first MCU movie that I've seen in the theater like more than once since Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
And there was a time when I would see MCU movies routinely like 3 and 4 and 5 times in the
Right.
theater because I just love them that much. And so,
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
The stage select is made possible through the support and funding of viewers like you. Here are our wonderful patrons.
Before we move on,
Mhm.
Justin, I think it is time to thank our lovely patrons.
Oh yeah. Hopefully I clicked the right thing and not the wrong. I did a good job.
Good
I'm
job.
ready.
I'm proud of you. I knew you could
Yeah.
do it.
I thought I could do it too. Here we go.
We appreciate all of our lovely patrons, but every week we like to thank the executive producer tier. And this week we have Addy XD.
We have Big Baker.
We have Bill Tucker of A Gamer Looks at 40.
We have Bookie.
We have Casey Curran.
We have David Portnov.
We have Dennis Robertson.
We have Dr. Delicious.
We have Eric Peacock of the Soundtracker podcast.
We have Xrian.
We have Game Johnson of Retrofits.
We have Matt Jorgensen. It's going
We
to slowly
have
get
Philip.
louder.
PK Becker. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, we have Raymond Crumb.
We have 60, who was forced to tell Justin secrets, but hopes nothing will come of it.
I hope something does come of it. We have Stephen Lobo.
And last but not least, we have Xavier Kreger. Thanks to everyone for supporting the show. And I guess I should say, if we have new listeners who are here to check out the wonderful Stephanie and Michelle, that we have bonus episodes that we do every month. And you also get the show 2 days early for any of the tiers, but also the associate producer tier. You get the Suffer Select, which is a monthly series where Justin and I suffer through just truly terrible games.
Desert Bus was rough.
Desert Bus did a number on us most
yeah.
recently.
That was rough.
And then for executive producers, you get Cinemorons in addition to everything else, which is our new movie and TV podcast.
Absolutely.
Yes. So keeping on the movie tick real quick, because I don't really have a lot myself
Okay.
that I did this week, but I took my first like big exam for my new job, and I passed on the first
All
try,
right.
which was
All
like
right.
Yay!
I was super happy.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I had not taken a Scantron exam since 1998, and so I was like sweating bullets going into there. But I was like, I'm going to treat myself because I had to go into the office, you know, to take the test and everything. So I was already downtown. And I was like, I'm going to go dinner and a movie. So I checked times, and I was like, okay, it looks like I can go see, I can go check out Sinners again. And then when that gets out, I can go across the street to my favorite buffet place. Awesome. So I will say real quick, this time that I saw Sinners, it was in a theater with a much better sound system than the first time I saw it.
Okay.
And that makes a huge fucking difference. That soundtrack is so fucking good. And I barely noticed it the first time that I watched it.
So
Holy
good.
shit.
Yeah.
Like the movie was even better the second time around.
Nice.
Here's a question, and I'm glad we have Stephanie here because I know what would it be if it was just me and Justin.
Yeah.
So here's the scenario, right? I go, well, you know, we're at a point where they're trying to like get rid of as much staff as possible. So it's like you have to go to the concession stand to buy your ticket and get whatever concession, right? So
Absolutely.
I buy my ticket, I get my concession, and like the manager comes up, and you know she looks like she's like right around my age, maybe a little bit younger, you know, kind of cute. And I should say, like, I ditched my dress shirt the second that I leave the office. And so I had my like Final Fantasy 30th anniversary shirt underneath that.
Hell yeah.
And so she comes up and she's like, oh, it's a cute little chocobo. Oh, and so then I was like, I showed her my tattoo. I don't know if Stephanie can.
You can do it. We all believe in you.
The camera's so weird.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Oh, see it. So cute. Yes,
So
yes,
you know,
yes.
I was like, okay, so I show her that, and she does like this little like faint, like little like fake, like a fake little fainting thing, and then she you know walked away, and because she was getting my icy, and so then she brings that up, and she was like, it's good to see you again, like we haven't seen you in a while, and I kind of like I literally did that, and I was like, thank you, and then I moved on about my day. Or with my business, because like so I used to go to that theater all the time when I lived in that area. I didn't recognize her from like when I used to go there all the time, but like, was that a thing?
Bro, I think that's 100% a thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I think
There you
so.
go.
That was like one of those things where it was like after the movie, I was like, huh.
Yeah. Dude, I think like first of all, that's super cute. I think that maybe instead of like maybe suss it out like one more time,
Right.
Yeah.
and be like, you know, try to strike up a conversation, be like, oh, I saw you liked my Final Fantasy tattoos. What's your favorite game? Which one do you like the most? Which one did you grow up with? And just try to see like based on her answers, like, did she give you a lengthy one? Did she smile? And like, I think if it goes well the second time, maybe be like, well, maybe we could see a movie when you get off your shift or something, girl. Like, you know, I think that's super cute. What really sold me was I haven't seen you in a while, which is like
that is that's they remember you.
I've worked many a retail, you know, and like listen, there's obviously a line of like you want customers, you want to be nice to your customers and all that stuff.
Right,
and I've had, you know, repeat customers come into when I used to work at Urban Outfitters and stuff.
Right.
But I would never say like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Oh my God. I just be like, hey, how are you? How have you been?
Yeah.
You know, just like very like generic. But that's really interesting that she said that.
Yeah. And I've been so off the market for so long, and like and also like was not ever like great with picking up on things, and I knew that if I asked Justin, like we'd just be like, I don't know, man, because Justin is also equally
I'm
bad.
I'm dumb.
It's not even that though. It's like it's hard to read people, and you don't want to like misinterpret their their words wrong. No one wants to do that. That's not fun.
Right.
So I think but this seems very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, because like as I've been, well, I guess I'm not scheduled in the office anytime soon, but anytime that I am scheduled in the office, I I don't want to deal with the traffic, so I just end up going to see a movie, and that's my favorite theater. So like we'll see, what happens next time I head out there if she's working and whatnot. But yeah, it was just a really weird, like, didn't even know how to respond because I was like, it like my brain like short circuited for a second because I was like, this isn't the normal like interaction for getting things at the concession stand.
Yeah,
That's true.
You know what? Either way, here's the thing. Never set yourself up for disappointment, because even if she's, maybe she's married or like, whatever her story is, the point is, you guys have stuff in common. She likes Final Fantasy. Yeah. Maybe you got yourself a new friend, and that's also amazing.
That's also great too.
That's also great. So like, honestly, you can't lose either way, in my opinion.
That is true. Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah.
So just keep going. And that's for all you guys out there too, who are listening, that like, so a person that you have a lot in common with doesn't want to date you romantically. Okay, well, you can still be their friend and be like, have someone that, you have interests. And that's also awesome. I think we forget how important friendship is, especially with people of the opposite sex. Like I have so many male friends that are totally platonic, have never had interest in me, have their wives, have their girlfriends, or just single. And I value them so much. They're a different energy than my female friends. And I'm just so thankful to have that different energy and perspective in my life.
Right.
So I think it's important that men also have, female friends too.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
So totally recommend it.
So much stuff fell away like during the pandemic, just getting out of the habit of like spending time with people and stuff. And honestly, like if it wasn't for doing podcasts with Justin, like I don't know, like I would have gone kind of crazy.
I'm glad I was good for something.
You're good for more than that.
All right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I definitely like kept in touch with friends, online. And like I've got like a couple of my best friends are also long distance, so it was going to be that way anyway. But there's something about like the in-person hangout that doesn't happen very often. Like I took John out for dinner on Sunday, and we hung out, and that was nice because we hadn't done that in a little bit. And he's having a little bit of frustration with the acting stuff, but
I believe it. Yeah.
I'm like,
it's
but
rough.
Man, because he was like, I don't know, I'm going to New York like next month. I'm like, but dude, you're going to New York for your film premiere. Like it's a pretty big fucking deal. Like, don't let like the current frustrations like detract from, the future excitement,
Right.
Speaking of future excitement, Justin.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. That was just a weird segue of asking what you've been up to.
Oh, great. Okay. I'm going to piggyback off of you because, I've been having a great time hanging out with friends now on Saturdays, and that's been really fun for me.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Yes. I've been showing people video games that I like, which is funny. But to piggyback off the movie thing, I went and watched a film.
What the fuck?
At a movie theater, Julian.
No way. No.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe
I
you.
did. Here's the thing though, it wasn't very good. I went and seen that Final Destination movie.
Of all the movies?
Yeah. Nope. Hey, that's what they wanted to see. That's what I was like, all right. Okay.
But listen, so I haven't seen any of the Final Destination movies.
Yes.
But when I went to go see Sinners this week, they had a trailer for this new one, and it looked like Hitman for horror movies, and it made me laugh pretty loud.
Okay. I'm gonna. Yeah. So I watched the first one because back in the day when I was in high school, we had free pay-per-view. And what the fuck was I going to do? Not watch Final Destination? It was there for free. So I watched it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even then I was like, this movie's kind of hilarious. Like, it's really funny to me. Like these are just the most insane Rube Goldberg contraptions to murder people that I've ever seen. And I'm kind of here for it. It's really stupid. So when it got pitched that like, hey, my friend Kim, who's been, going through her stuff. She was like, I seen the previews for it. I love those movies. I really want to go see it. Will you go with me? Sure. Let's go see Final fucking Destination Bloodlines. And I warned them beforehand. I was like, listen, I'm going to laugh a lot. And I did. I like everything that's happening. I'm just fucking cackling at, like, a elevator falls on a guy, and I'm just like, that was fucking great. This is so stupid. My favorite bits of the movie. So there's one lady that they have to go talk to because she knows what Death's up to, right? She sees the stuff and she knows what they're up to. And they're like, okay, well, where does she live? Out in the middle of nowhere. And she's got a big fortress of death to prevent death from getting there. And I do mean fortress of death. Like, she has like spiked logs and stuff going, like, and I'm like, who is this for? Who are you preventing from getting in here? Why? And it's so dumb. The other thing was my other favorite part was what I called Chekhov's vending machine spring, where it's just like it happens, and I'm just like, okay, so that's how we're gonna actually do it, because I always see how it's gonna actually happen, because they always try to trick you. They try to get you going with one thing, and then it's this thing. And yeah, sure enough, Chekhov's vending machine paid off. And my friend Kim goes, I forgot all about that. And I'm like, I didn't.
Back of your head the whole time, you're like, but that vending machine,
the vending machine
that's going to pay off.
I was like, it's coming. Just give it a second. Oh my God. It's a vending machine spring. Spoilers for Final Destination Bloodlines, a movie you probably shouldn't see. They basically set it up. It's in a hospital. And the what's that? I think it's an MRI, the one with the magnets, that whole thing.
In the cylinder?
Yeah, in the cylinder.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they basically set it up to where, like, it turns itself up to research levels, which I was like, why is there this setting on here? What is how? For what reason? Why would we ever need this?
For research, Justin. It's in the name.
Apparently for research, Julian. So yeah, and then eventually, it somehow folds a man in half with a wheelchair the wrong way, and and that was funny enough. But then and then the vending machine comes and it's a double kill. It was a whole thing, and I was like, oh my God, this fucking movie is so dumb. I can't believe I sat through it, but here we are today. I live.
Well, I mean, if you're with a person and you're at a theater, you're kind of stuck.
I was having, but at the same time, I was having a fun time. So my friend Lonnie was also there, and he was most bothered by nobody in the movie used turn signals, and he was very upset about it. Which was funny to me, because I was like, I didn't.
People
notice
not
that.
using seatbelts in movies is a thing for me.
They went out of their way to use seatbelts, Julian, because death. We gotta, and then of course, because at the end of the movie, the seatbelt became a big thing. So we have to do that.
Right.
What a dumb movie! It was great. I enjoyed it.
I want to unpack this a little bit more though, because it's been a while since you've gone to a movie at a theater.
The last movie I seen in a theater was Detective Pikachu with my sister.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. I don't go to, I'm not a big movie person. Like I don't really go out of my way to watch movies very often. I play way too many video games usually. And that's just kind of how that ends up going. I'm like, there's just no time to watch all of these films. So yeah, me going to a movie theater was the whole thing. And as soon as you described the walk up to the concession counter, I was like, oh yeah, we had to do that. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Oh man. But yeah, that was a bit of my life right there. I also showed my friend Kim Disco Elysium because I can't help myself. I'm terrible. Which they liked. It was fun to show Kim. That was the bit. What else did I do though? Well, since last time I finished Wanderstop. That's a pretty good game. Wanderstop, for those who don't know, is a like little comfy tea shop game. Big main thing about it is burnout. Like it's kind of
Yes.
It has a lot to do with that.
I saw a trailer for that and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested in that. Okay, so cool. I'm glad that you liked it.
Yeah, it's really good. I'll start with the really very few complaints that I had. The one thing is so every time there's the changes happen in the game, and every time a change happens, it gets rid of everything, and that's sort of the point. Like, I kind of really like that design decision, because they kind of spell it out as like,
learn to let go type of thing, right?
Learn to let go, but also, if you're not doing this because you want to do it, then why are you doing it? Like, it's really that kind of vibe, like where they're like, hey, you can do this if that's a thing you want to do, but you don't have to. It's okay. And I was like, I like that, because a lot of times I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. So okay, cool. And it was really nice for that. But the one thing that I think it kind of gets wrong is every time the change happens, so it'll save. The one thing it tries to hammer home is you can take photos throughout the game. And if you put the photos up into frames, it'll save them. But if you don't, it gets rid of them. And I was like, I think that kind of defeats the purpose a little bit, because if you're trying to, like, take photos of stuff and these are important memories to you, and suddenly I run out of space, I just lose that thing. And I kind of thought that was a bummer. I think all it needed was also, as well as the frames, just have like a little photo album that you could put stuff in, because at the end of the game, I would have loved to gone through it. Because a lot of
you frame like the most important stuff, but it's not that you get rid of everything else that you take pictures of.
No. And it's also like, characters will give you photos as like for rewards for like doing a little side quest. Most of them are really easy, right? There was what I will call the coffee arc, and every there where these businessmen show up, and they and every time you would do what they wanted you to do, they would give their little business presentation, and at the end they would give you a picture of that they had from the presentation. And I was like, it sucks that I don't have enough room to put all this stuff up. I wish, because some of it's really funny and fun, and that was kind of a bummer. The other bummer, I think, and it's not like a massive bummer because I know what they're going for. Everything has its own. I refer to everything as like an arc, because like they're one-shot things and then that's it. But at the same time, there were characters where like I was like, that never really resolved, and I wish I would have gotten more about it. Like, there's one character from the beginning, his name's Gerald, and he's a knight, and he became a knight to impress his son, because his son meant a lot to him. And he's goofy as shit, and you're the entire time the main character, whose name is Alta, and she's a really, really good warrior or whatever, but is suffering from burnout, so she can't pick up her sword anymore. And the entire time she's just like, you're not a knight, dude. This is not how this works. You don't just do this, and but he gets cursed or something. And I was like, I really wanted to know what happened to Gerald, because it just kind of ended there. And it's kind of a bummer. The most I got out of it was like, he sent a letter, but it really wasn't a letter about what happened with the whole curse thing. I was really kind of curious about that.
Real quick on that note is one thing I forgot to mention about South of Midnight that bothered me, is that you would get these like little story bits in each of the chapters for like the backstory of like what was going on with like this particular haint or of this particular side character. And some of the stuff was like surprisingly dark and like kind of like, holy shit, I can't believe that so-and-so did that in the past. But there's never any like payoff to that, in the sense of like Hazel as a character never like confronts them and says like, hey, I know what happened. Like, let's talk about it, or absolve them of it, or whatever. And I thought that was kind of a weird choice.
Yeah. But overall, I thought the game was really good. I had myself a good little cry at the end of it. It was very nice. Boro is an amazing character. Love that guy to death. And like there was a little bit with have your final cup of tea with him, and I was like, oh man, this is hitting. Really great game though. I really like it. This is my note to myself in the editing bay to wish list it, because I keep forgetting to
put it on the list.
Give it a try. Let me look it up real quick here. How long it took me to get through it? 15 hours, and really that was me kind of messing around a lot of the time. So
that's a good length.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad of a game at all. I think it's well worth it. Other stuff I played. Yes, Your Grace Snowfall. Which is I guess I've seen it as Yes, Your Grace 2 and just it's in my library as Yes, Your Grace Snowfall. I don't know, Yes, Your Grace 2 Snowfall, whatever they want to call it. The sequel to the game, Yes, Your Grace. Crazy how that works. I don't like it as much as I liked the first game. I liked the first game a pretty good amount. It was fun for what it was. Basically, the entire setup of the first game was you're the king, and you most of the time your main thing is you sit on the throne. People come up to you with their random requests, and you have to decide if they're full of shit. And that's really it. So you're kind of gambling, and you're trying to. There's an event in the horizon that you have to build up towards, and that's nerve-wracking. And you have to get a certain amount of resources. This one, first of all, my first big thing was they think that I've remembered a game that I played however many years ago, and I don't, because it's like a direct sequel. I was like, okay, that's cool, but like it's also a direct sequel in the fact that like it's asking what choices I made, and I was like, I don't remember. I remember a few things from that first game, but not everything. And that was that, but that wasn't a big deal. I just kind of guessed what it was. The big thing is I think this one adds too much. I think it's cool overall. It still has that aspect of, you know, these people are coming up to you. They're going to have requests. How are you going to do it? What resources are you going to expend to do this and make the people happy? But they do it a little differently. It feels like you can actually make everyone happy, which was kind of defeats the purpose of the first game. And also they add this bit where you have to go out and explore the surrounding area to get resources and stuff, which was not in the first game. So because it kind of makes it lose its focus a little bit to me. It's not bad by any stretch, and I'm still kind of slowly making my way through it, but I'm just not as into it as I was the first one. That's pretty much where I'm at with that game. The final thing I'll talk about really quick is Monster Train 2 came out. And it's really, really quick. It's more Monster Train. If you like Monster Train, try out Monster Train 2, because it's pretty much just that.
And you were really high on Monster Train.
Right? I'm one of the weirdos that likes Monster Train more than I like Slay the Spire. And I love both those games. So yeah. But yeah, it's really just that. Like, I don't even like, there's nothing I can even really say about it other than it's just more Monster Train. The only weird thing I think it does is like they added like story bits to it, which is cool. Like that's cool. But like, I'm not really there for the story in that game. I love a story in video games, Stephanie. I really do. I absolutely adore them. But this one, I'm just like, I just want to put the cards down. I just want to lay cards down and just make things
Sometimes
disappear.
you just want to lay cards down, man. I get it. I'm really into Marvel Snap because I just be putting cards down. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Gotta put them cards down. Gotta do it. Got to do it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's been my week, and yeah. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't really been up to all that much. Well, I take that back. I've been up to basically just progression on stuff that I've been talking about. So not much to say this week. I'll kind of save it for next week, with the exception of I got deeper into the 100 line Last Defense Academy.
Oh, right. Yeah. I really want to start that.
And it's gone from like a thing that I play on my Steam Deck occasionally to like literally like last night I was like, all right, Julian, you have to finish Expedition 33 so that then that your reward for finishing Expedition 33 is that then you can finish the 100 line, because you really want to play the 100 line, but you're close to the end of Expedition, so you should really do that. You should finish that. Yeah, you should eat your food before you have dessert, Julian. That's how this works. Not that I'm, I'm I'll talk about Expedition once I'm done, because I have been enjoying it more than I was, but I definitely continue to have like issues that most people don't have with it.
Yeah.
But there was two things that happened this week with the expedition, or sorry, with the 100 line. One is that, and I had been waiting for this for months, but I started to see Game Grumps videos popping up on my YouTube where they were getting towards the end of Danganronpa 3.
Oh boy.
And I was like, I need to see how these guys react to the ending of Danganronpa 3.
Yes.
And sure, it was, Justin, it's so perfect.
Okay.
Because it is the entirety of that fandom distilled into two guys, because Aaron fucking hates it.
Yeah.
And he's just like so livid. And then Dan is like, nah, man, this is really good. I fucking love this. Like, this is so dumb.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten just how brilliant that ending is and how
it's fun.
Fucking bold it is. Like,
it's insane what they did with it. I love it.
Yeah. And this game being made by a lot of the same people, right? It's 100% for like people who played all the way through all three of those games, and they're like, we know what you're expecting.
Yeah.
And we're going to circumvent that expectation at every step of the
Absolutely.
way, in like the best possible ways.
That's what they do.
And like the levels of anime bullshit are higher than they've ever been. Like, I just got a character who is like a really like stuck up, like highborn, like high school girl that wears a tomato on her head, but the tomato also has facial expressions.
Okay.
And they do acknowledge it. It's not a thing. It's not that weird. But at the same time, every time that they question it, she just completely ignores it and just goes about her business.
Well, yeah.
And I think that's even better than no one acknowledging it at all.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
It's just so dumb. And you know, and then my favorite character, Darumi, just continuing to be like, but killing game? Can we murder each other? Just one murder? Just one murder. I'm just asking for one murder.
Yeah. They just want to do one.
Yeah. So I'm having a blast with that.
Awesome.
But I'm hoping to get like a lot more game time in.
Absolutely.
We have a long weekend, right? So there's that.
That we do.
Not because I don't enjoy the game. I just completely forgot about the Midnight Walk this week. Because I was like kind of getting deeper into the end game of Expedition 33, and I was like, I really need to focus down and like finish some fucking video games.
I super get it. Yeah.
That's so cool that you guys, I love Game Grumps, by the way. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
And I've been watching I've never played a Danganronpa game, but boy, do I, every weekend I am sat in front of the YouTube screen and I'm watching the boys play that because it's so fascinating. You're totally right. Their commentary is just so great.
Yeah.
So, I'm as a person first learning about the Danganronpa series, I'm also like, what's happening? What's going on? It's been really fun to watch them react to it.
Hell yeah.
Oh man. And because it's like by that third game, right? Like, because they've done such a good job on those first two of building on like case by case of okay, you know what this is now. So we've got to find different ways to like, you know, like
surprise
distract you, or throw you, you know, like throw you off the trail and whatnot. And then those last few hours of that third game is like, man. But what if the entire series was throwing you off? And it's so brave because it's like, we are fucking ending
we
this.
Are done. It's great. Love it.
And there was a really good like little jab at that in the dialogue of 100 line that I got to today, where a character was like, because at this point you've got like basically two factions that are kind of like trying to mesh together, and one of the characters is like, yeah, it's kind of like when a video game company merges with another company, and then they just, you know, at a certain point, like the flagship franchise just gets run into the ground, and then the other character's like, I feel bad for the fans.
Nice.
I was like, oh, okay. That's you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
We're almost ready to end this fucking podcast.
Hell yeah.
But before we get out of here, I thought we would answer a few comments, questions, and concerns, or CQC.
Okay.
Stephanie, if you're up for a few of these.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
All right.
There's a lot of ways to get at us. You can email us. The email address is thestageselectpod@gmail.com. You can comment on the show posts on Patreon or YouTube. Once again, on Patreon, you don't have to be a paid member, the show gets unlocked on Wednesdays. And then as long as you have a Patreon account, you can comment there. You can also join our Discord. And there is a channel in there for comments, questions, and concerns, which is where these come from. Starting off, and we've got quite a few, but we will go ahead and just like grab a few of these tonight.
All right.
Xavier asks, top anime openings of all time.
Ooh, that's good.
Cowboy Bebop, Death Parade, and what else is another good one? I think those are my top two. Let me think on a third one. I'll let you guys answer.
Bebop is up there for me.
Yeah.
I would say so. I'll set that aside. Look, I'm old school and I'm basic. Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh yeah, that's obviously yes.
Yeah,
that too.
Yeah.
Slayer's next.
Oh, Slayer's so fun.
And Dot Hack Sign.
Yeah. Okay. I am a big fan of Samurai Champloo as well. To add on to everything. I really love the JoJo's Bizarre Adventures openings too. I think they're great. Especially if I can't remember exactly what season it is, but the song is Fighting Gold. If you look up that anime intro, I showed it to my sister, who's not like at all into that kind of stuff, and she was like, holy shit, this is incredible. And I was like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Also, Dandadan is really good.
Oh,
really fun.
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Really catchy, really fun.
Oh, do Rah 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 or whatever that's called. The one with the I can't remember exactly what it's about. It's about it's in a Shibuya, Tokyo, and then it has the headless girl who only communicates over text. I love how that one always flows together. Yeah, you mentioned.
Then there's
Death
like
Parade.
the shonen anime where they have like a bunch of different intros, so it's like I can like I'm sure there's a My Hero Academia one in there that's up there, but like
great.
there's so many of them that like I can't really think of one off the top of my head.
Season 1 of like the original run of Attack on Titan, that music is incredible. Yeah. Oh. They could never top it. It was so good. It was just like,
why change it? Like it was so good.
I remember when they did, I was like, why would you do this? I don't understand.
Downgrade.
It's really was. Yep.
Yeah. The anime of today, they don't have the fortitude to just stick with the same thing for like 8 seasons like Dragon Ball Z, where it's just like, nope, we've got they had the 2, right? They had the one up until Goku dies, and then they had the one for when Gohan was the main thing, and that's it.
Yep.
60x Self asks, as someone who regularly cleans computers, phones, and computer accessories as part of my job, I have to know, how filthy are your devices? When's the last time you gave your computer a long, hard blow? When's the last time you stripped your phone and rubbed it off?
Wow.
I'm not sure if we're still talking about devices at this point, but
I'm really bad at cleaning stuff. So I do clean my PS5 because it has all those really fun vents that are so fun that collect a lot of dust. So very cool design. I love that.
That's great.
So I do be cleaning that. I clean my controllers. I'm not a PC girly.
Gotcha.
So I wish I was. I just grew up on the console. I just need the controller. That's just what I know.
Oh, I totally get it.
But yeah, so but everything else I don't remember when last I cleaned them, which is a good reminder to do so, I guess.
For sure.
Yeah. I'll be like, I'm real bad about cleaning shit in general. I grew up with a very anal retentive, angry father. And when he moved out, it wasn't a thing that we ever said, but it was just this kind of like tacit understanding between me and my mother that we're only going to clean when company is about to come over.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Other than like bathrooms, right? Like
yeah.
But also during the pandemic, when like no one was coming to visit, I learned that I could deal with a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess there's also the aspect of me being in used game retail for like 8 years, where I cleaned so many fucking controllers and systems during that time that like I don't really want to do it anymore. Like I don't really mess with it. I try, I wash my hands pretty often, and so and I'm I usually don't like eat and then immediately like grab my controller. So like the amount of controller cheese on my controllers is not as egregious as some people's controllers.
Yeah.
Also, like the seams on the controllers are a lot tighter than they used to be, so it's harder for controller cheese to build up like it used to.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I and again, 60, I fully understand it's all gross.
It is.
I just, you know, I've become very accustomed to my own filth.
Yeah,
so.
I'm right there with the both of you. I don't do it very often. I just make sure that I don't, you know, I don't do anything too egregious. Like if you don't spill anything on the controller, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
Now I did recently open up my PC and blow it out. Okay, I did do that because I thought something was going horribly wrong with it, and I was like, well, if I make something blow up by doing this, oh well, it's already messed up. But then it turned out I just needed to update my BIOS. PC gaming is, you know what, guys, it's not worth it. It's not.
Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah,
no, it is. It's actually really cool because all the graphics are really nice. But you know, also a pain in the ass.
The amount of pain in the ass versus the graphics have not equaled out enough for me
Julian, yet. Let me tell you about updating your motherboard BIOS because it is hold your breath and pray to God nothing goes wrong because you will brick your PC or something, and it's like, oh great, this is fun, this is good.
Yeah,
I have to do it.
Yeah,
not great.
Nope, I'm fine. I'm fine with my consoles.
Yeah.
Mike Fallick asks,
oh boy,
are the two of you, three of you, headphone gamers?
I'm not.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be hearing my gaming in this house.
I hear
it's loud, and I'm proud, and I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's generally me as well, with the exception of I did get the 3D like headphones for the PlayStation 5, like when I got mine at launch.
Yeah.
And I don't use it all the time, but the times when it's like really good is kind of game changing. And like most recently, the Midnight Walk is like a completely different experience with those headphones on. It's something special.
Yeah.
And I haven't played the Silent Hill 2 remake yet, but I plan on playing that with the headphones on, because I think that's also going to be like just kind of some next level stuff.
Probably. Yeah. I do not wear headphones when I am playing the video games, unless I'm streaming or something, of course. But like, I usually have and I'm the opposite of Stephanie, though. I have everything turned way down to just where I can hear it. It's just me just listening to the whispers of the video games, and in my own little world of like, ooh, nobody knows I'm doing this. I don't know why I treat it like it's some sort of weird secret, but here we are. That's just how I've always done it.
That's interesting to me because you're also such a big video game music guy. So I would feel like you want to crank it.
So what ends up happening is I'll subtly hear it. I'll be like, "Ooh, this sounds really good," and then I'll go. Usually, like I get a vibe from like a game where I'm like, "This soundtrack is really good," and then I go download the soundtrack, and that's when I listen. That's when I put headphones on and listen. I'm like, okay, that caught my ear. Now I'm going to listen to it and put it in with all the noise canceling and all the way up, because it's the only right way to listen to music, in my opinion, is to permanently damage your hearing.
Yeah,
I like that.
Absolutely. We'll close with this one from Dennis, who says, okay, guys, so I was just watching the Metal Gear Solid Delta opening movie trailer, and it prompted these questions for CQC.
Oh, dear God.
Have you all seen all of the Bond movies? Based on age, I'm guessing Julian has, if not all, then most, and Justin has not. And then we'll cut it there. He's got some other questions, but we'll cut it there.
Okay.
Well, I've seen quite a few. I actually really appreciate the old movies. They're just fun.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're super fun.
Yes.
Tangent. Have you guys seen the music video Genghis Khan by Mike Snow?
No,
I have not.
Great. So I highly recommend watching that if you're even slightly interested in the Bond films.
Okay.
They did basically, so they had a really big hit, Genghis Khan, maybe 7 years ago or something.
Okay.
And they basically, it's their last music video. They're starting to make music again. But it's basically the last thing we hear from Mike Snow for a long time. And it is a full-on movie with like, it's basically a James Bond, a Bond film.
Okay.
And in a music video format with like dancing and like an evil, like bald evil guy
Right.
versus the, and it's shot like it has the same type of 70s coloring and styling with lighting and stuff. It's a really fun thing that ends up having like a little twist at the end, and you're like, ooh. So I always like to say that that's my favorite Bond film because it's very
Nice.
fun and modern, and the twist is really cool. I'm not going to spoil it. I want you guys to just watch it.
Okay.
But yeah, I like the Bond films. I like, I'm not too crazy about the Daniel Craig ones just because he's not my personal favorite Bond, but I understand that the movie quality is good. It's just,
right.
Women get very few opportunities where we can objectify a man as a main character, wearing those slutty little suits and jumping around in like a little, like, G-string bikini, like, Sean Connery used to do on the beach. And like, no offense to Daniel Craig lovers, he's just not my type.
Right.
So, I like the other ones.
Daniel Craig was always weird to me because he was supposed to be like, like the first movie was like, here's rookie James Bond. And so it's going to be a younger James Bond. And I was like, that dude's got old man earlobes. Like he looks older than all of the other James Bonds, and it's his first movie. It was a weird thing. Like he's a good looking cat. Don't get me wrong, but not James Bond good looking. If that makes sense,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about you, Justin?
I was gonna say I've seen actually probably more than you would think I have, because they used to show them in big marathons. I think on TNT. Or TBS.
I remember TBS.
It was either I just said or TBS. It was one of the T channels that I remember them showing like big marathons, like it's Bond weekend or week or whatever, and I'd be like, why not? What else am I doing? I and also like I remember GoldenEye, for the 64 actually sparked my interest in that whole thing, because I was like, all right, some of these seem campy and fun. Why not?
Yeah.
But I've forgotten a lot of them, but I have seen them. They're those movies where I'm like, oh, right, and he's the bad guy in this one. Right, Jaws is here. Yes, and they're on the train. Right, okay, got it. Yeah, I remember this one. But yeah, the new ones, I'd seen Casino Royale, and that was about it, and I wasn't super high on it. And that might
actually be my favorite one.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Even though Daniel Craig is not my favorite Bond, I like that, like the fact that like so much of it is just like a tense poker game.
Yeah. I think I for some reason just kind of got bored. I don't know what it was. Yeah, there was something about it. But
I like Mads Mikkelsen as that villain too.
Take nothing away from it. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. But
I've seen a good number of them. There was a time, I think it was not that long after Game Fellas closed, where I was still kind of hanging out with some of the guys from my store, and Ryan was having like a routine movie night where we were kind of going through the Bond movies. So I ended up watching like all of the Sean Connery ones at his place.
Right.
Like I'll never forget, because it was like a good group of like 15 people or so.
Yeah.
And like most of them were even younger than me at that point. So I would have been like 25, 26 back then. And so they would have been like, around 20-ish.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the moment when Sean Connery like says to this woman next to him, move along now, men talking. He like spanks her on the ass and sends her on her way. And like, we all just went like, like it was just like, what? Like,
yep.
Because, just like such a different time. Right.
Yeah.
So different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I've watched all of the Sean Connery ones. I haven't seen any of the George Lazenby one, or is it just the one? I forget.
I think it's just like he only had either one or a couple. I can't remember.
I've seen a couple of the Roger Moore ones. I haven't seen Timothy Dalton's.
Yeah.
I've seen all of the Daniel Craig ones.
Sure.
And then I've seen
Brosnan?
I think I've seen 3 of the Brosnan ones. Brosnan is my favorite Bond.
Me
but
too.
but I think he might be my least favorite of the movies because they're just like really like, other than GoldenEye, like I think they're just like kind of like overtly cheesy, but like not in that campy like way that the Connery ones were. It's like it's like unintentionally so. There's just something, I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch them, but my memory is like, I'm not digging this, other than like Brosnan is just amazing. Like, you know, I think he's the best looking of the group.
Great, for sure.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
And there was just like a certain swagger that he had that I really loved.
Yeah. An icon, a legend.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
He's in. Oh, I saw him in something recently, and I was like, oh man! And now he's like a silver fox.
There you.
He's really hot in Eurovision, the movie. If you haven't seen it,
Oh.
they talk about like, why is your dad so hot? And I'm like, he's so much older, but still so attractive. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Well, it's been nice talking to you, Stephanie.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, it's been wonderful. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was super fun.
Oh, thanks for coming.
I'm so relieved. I'm so glad that you had a good time. I was so nervous getting into it because I was like, oh man, like biggest guest we've ever had, and like I don't know like what the time, you know, like how much we've got you for, and like how fast we have to move things along, and you know, and I always worry about like boring a new guest, like so.
No, I always say this. I'm a bimbo of the people.
There you go.
Never forget that.
Love
So
it.
I'm always down, you know, to really just yap. That's if I could do that for a living, boy, I would love to do that.
Hey, come
So
back
this is super
anytime
fun.
and yap. We're more than happy to have you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that.
I was so excited because like I had sent you a DM on Tumblr, but then Tumblr got nuked. It's like, oh man. And then like one of your tweets, I was like, there's not a ton of people that actually there's a ton of people that like liked it, but not a ton of people that actually like commented. I was like, I'll shoot my shot. And then you responded almost immediately, and you said you were like very enthusiastic. I was like, oh sweet, okay, this is cool. So yeah, this has been a blast. So again, thank you so much.
Yay!
You know, usually we wrap things up by letting people know where they can find us. So Stephanie, like, you know, where can people find you? Stuff that you want to point them in the direction of, all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Y'all, why don't you come on down to Instagram.com? It's a little site, and you can see what I do a little bit. And if you're interested in that, we can take it to a sexier place, which is Twitter. And then there you can go to OnlyFans. But let's start you off with just Instagram, okay?
There you go.
Just keep it real basic. And from that, you can follow my main account, which is StephanieMichelle.IRL or O, just the letter O, my Stephanie Michelle. Either one of those accounts are mine. And just say howdy on a post, and I will say howdy back. And that's how we'll know that you're from this podcast.
There you go.
And if you want to go to Twitter, my Twitter name is super easy. It's just the letter O, my Stephanie. And you can also howdy me, but I don't know if I'll see it. But go ahead and try. And OnlyFans, again, it's onlyfans.com. And I believe it's oh, my Stephanie Michelle on there. But I might be wrong.
Hold on.
Just ask me on Twitter, and I'll link you to it.
There you go. I can check real quick because I am on there.
I think it is. I always forget my ats. I'm like not the best at this.
It's a lot to keep track of, to be fair.
It is. Oh my gosh. Especially when your accounts are getting taken down and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's my username again?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, oh, my Stephanie Michelle is the main account. And then if you're cool like me, it's oh, my Stephanie VIP.
There you go.
Yes. Yes, my VIP account is the coolest and best place to get my content. So
there you go.
Out.
Yes. Justin, how about you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Tyrone Swift. I promise I'm going to stream again. I keep forgetting to do it. I'm not even joking. I just keep, it keeps hitting like 10 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, right. Shit. Well, I guess tomorrow. And then we repeat this process. But I promise I have a plan because we have a 3-day weekend and I'm going to start doing it. Damn it.
Yeah.
I
Also,
almost texted you last weekend, but I was actually behind on editing. I was like, I will just use the time that I would normally watch Justin to
Yeah.
edit the show.
that's good. That's constructive, Julian. But I promise I'm gonna make it happen. It may not be the same day of the week as it has been, but it'll be a day, God damn it. And also, for all the old stuff is at Tyrone Swift TV on YouTube. You can watch whatever the hell you want that I did before. There you go.
You can find me on Blue Sky. Just search for Julian Titus. The show is on Twitter at Stage Select Pod. Thanks as always to the wonderful Megan McDuffie for our theme song and interstitial tracks. Thanks to friend of the show, John Golson, for being our announcer and providing us with our logo and artwork. But that is going to do it for this edition of the Stage Select. I've been Julian Titus. He's been Justin Ham. Special thanks to Stephanie Michelle. We've been the Stage Select. Signing off.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The Stage Select is copyrighted and owned by Space Monkey Mafia Productions, specializing in independent podcasting. Please consider sharing the show with your friends and support us by joining our Patreon or donating to our coffee. Thank you, and good night.